of the boot. They have played 9 times in just under a century of football. Byrd shut out the Jesuit Blue Jays 14-0 in the first ever meeting in 1931. 2 years later, 1933, a 0-0 tie turned into a victory for the Blue Jays on penetrations inside the 20. 2 years later, in 1935, Byrd shut out Jesuit for the third straight time, 19-0. 3 games in the 30s, the Blue Jays did not score on Byrd, but still got a win by way of penetrations. Jesuit would win the next 4. Only one played in the 40s, a 25-7 Jays win. And just 1 game in the 50s when the Jays stopped the very good Yellow Jackets and future Tulane quarterback Gene Mouse Newton by an extra point, beating the Yellow Jackets 7-6. In the 60s, Jesuit got playoff wins 19-13 in 1960 and 20-13 in 64. Byrd won the only non-playoff game in the series in 66, 21-12. In 2002, Byrd beat Jesuit in the playoffs 27-7. That was a non-playoff game in 2002. And thus the series stands 4-1, an interesting series for these two schools. Get set for Byrd and Jesuit playoff action and time for redemption. Hello, everybody, from the Shrine on Airline. It's the Jesuit Blue Jays hosting the Byrd Yellow Jackets from Shreveport. Ken Berthelot, along with Wade Kaiser, on an evening that looks great for football. 71 degrees, no wind blowing. A light rain expected for about another hour. They're calling it light rain. We're calling it maybe a drizzle at the most. But this is good football weather, Wade Kaiser.
Well, it's good football weather. It's also natural turf, right? It's not artificial turf, and I know the players are happy about that. Both teams play normally on artificial turf, practice on artificial turf. They're coming here tonight to play on a very nice surface. I was down there on the field prior to the game. A little bit slick, but not that bad from the standpoint it's going to be perfect footing for both teams tonight down there.
Both teams are 4-6 on the year. You know, I think back of a year ago, Brother Morton was ranked 13th. They came in 13th seeded after a year that didn't go the way they wanted it to go. And guess what? Last year, even though they were 13th seeded, they won this first game and went right through to the finals to meet John Curtis in the finals. So when we say redemption, this is a chance for redemption for teams.
Well, it's the first round of the playoffs. And, you know, if you don't have a bye, the bottom line is you got to win to continue on because it's win or go home. But it is also a great opportunity. You know, Jesuit coming off a huge win last week against a good Rummel team, 13-10. Byrd coming off a win last week also against, if I'm not mistaken, it was Natchitoches Central by a score of 42-32. So these two teams want to continue their winning ways, and they've got a great opportunity here tonight. And hanging in the balance is being able to move on to the second round.
You and I have talked about this in the past. Byrd had a long trip today. They left at 8:30 this morning from Shreveport. And as you would expect, are they going to have traffic problems along the way? Yes, they did. They got to Alexandria. There was a massive accident somewhere. Roads were tied up. That's another hour or two on the bus that they probably had to spend. They get here, they're ready to play football. You coached, you took trips to Shreveport. Does that affect the team?
Well, yes and no, right? I think it affects the coaches more than it does the team because the coaches sit there and I was biting fingernails and worried about making sure everything was just perfect to the T, meeting deadlines and you're on time where you're supposed to be to eat, to get to the stadium, to do your walkthrough, to make sure your taping gets done, everything of that nature. And then all of a sudden there's a wreck on the way. So, you know, the kids are kind of dialed into either taking a nap or they're little things that they look at called phones, right? So, you know, they're dialed into those things. And you know, coaches are the ones that were I was sure stressful. I talked to Stacy Ballou before the game down on the field and some of the staff from Byrd, and they were telling me about that. And they said their kids were just zonked out on the bus. And those were the guys, the coaches, like I said, were the ones that were, you know, high anxiety levels. So, yes, I've taken teams to Shreveport. I've taken teams to Monroe and done all of that. And I've always been a big believer that you do it the same day. You don't go up the day before, stay overnight with 100 kids in a hotel and all that type of stuff. You do it the same day. And I think that's the same thing that Stacy Ballou and the CE Byrd staff felt the same way. So they're here. They're ready to play. They're dialed in.
Stacy Ballou in his third year, that's what he did. They left at 8:30 this morning. They're going to play the game and then drive back tonight. He is 21-12 as a head coach, 22 years as an assistant on the Byrd staff, and he played the same position you played when you were playing at Jesuit. He was an offensive lineman, all-district offensive lineman from 92 to 95.
Well, I've known Stacy Ballou for a number of years now. He was on Mike Sugg's staff for a long time, notable coach at Byrd who won a lot of games. He's the winningest coach in Byrd history. Mike Suggs retired a couple of years ago, and naturally stepping into that position was Stacy Ballou, who does a great job with the defense.
Ryan Manali, of course, in his third year and known as one of the finest coaches in the New Orleans area, 19-12 at Jesuit, 98-36 overall, and he's got more hardware and titles than you can shake a stick at, and he is dedicated to build this Jesuit program up to where it's going to start winning again and at the level, and it's not that they're not winning now because they have, and they do, but start winning at the level I think that people can use the word powerhouse behind it. So, not bad. Jesuit, you saw them come out on the field just a moment ago, and they are in their Jesuit royal blue jerseys, white headgear, and white pants. Byrd colors are purple and gold, and they will be wearing their gold helmets with white headgear and purple pants.
In the name of the Father.
This is our invocation.
God, you are generous beyond belief. We thank you for the gifts of football, of competition, of entertainment, and of Friday nights. Thank you for bringing us together on this day through this competition. Guide us to perform with passion, to protect us from injury, so that we may use this great sport to give you glory. Let us pray together the prayer that the Lord has taught us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. St. Ignatius, pray for us.
That was our invocation. Now we get set for the presentation of the colors and our national anthem.
By the Jesuit High School Marine Corps Junior.
For people who are watching this game, we'll give you a little trivia question. There was a pretty good Tulane quarterback in the 1950s who played his high school ball at CE Byrd High School. Do you know who it was? Wade shaking his head, yes.
I just can't remember the guy's name. Just can't remember his name.
Yeah. His nickname was the Mouse. He was about 5'6", 5'7", Gene Mouse Newton. And the years he played for Byrd, they did play Jesuit High School, and Jesuit won that game 7-6. An extra point made the difference. And they were one of the few teams that year that was able to keep the Mouse in check, so to speak, keep Gene Newton as a quarterback in check. And ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem by the Jesuit High School Marching Band. A national anthem by the Jesuit High School Marching Band. We're getting ready for football in the first round of the playoffs, the LHSAA playoffs, and we've got a big one here because, well, every game in the playoffs is a big one because if you lose, your season's over, and if you win, and whoever wins this game gets the right to move on and play Holy Cross, who will be a home team. So it's either a rematch of Jesuit and Holy Cross from a couple of weeks ago, or it's a Byrd having another long bus trip down to play Holy Cross next week. So one of these schools will have earned that right. Byrd won the toss, by the way, and they elected to receive. So we're going to see an offense, and don't expect us to say throwing or dropping back to pass the football. This is a triple option. Wade's going to describe the defense in just a moment, but 5 receivers have 11 catches on the entire season. They have only thrown the ball
27 times.
That's it. So they're going to run it down your throat, and they do it well. And I might add this. Byrd with the yellow headgear looks like an LSU helmet, so to speak. With the white jerseys and the purple pants, they're 1-0 in that uniform combination. It's the only uniform combination that does not have a loss on its record. So they're 1-0. No superstition there, but they're wearing it. It's going to be a short kick, and it's fair caught at the 27-yard line.
And they're the only school I know that keeps track of that sort of stuff. I never did. Right? We had dark home jerseys and white away jerseys, and I never kept track of that.
And right? and that was it. That's all you knew. And yeah.
Well, look, when I was reading that and credit the sports information department and Mr. Cavell from Byrd doing a great job on the game notes that they gave us to get us ready for this. He had it all broken down by uniforms, and I was very impressed.
He really did. And this is the 1-0 uniform combo. So we'll see what happens here. It was fair caught by Quentin Hilliard, and here goes a version of a triple option, and you'll see just about everything out of it today. And sure enough, is he going to drop back and throw on first down? And he will, and it's almost intercepted by the Blue Jays. My goodness. Whew.
Well, I didn't say they were going to throw the ball, and what do you know? They run play-action pass the very first ball, and it's almost picked off by Will Holmes, the one-high free safety from Jesuit that's guarding the post route right there, thinking that the free safety was going to bite up real quickly on the play-action fake. He didn't. He stayed at home, read his keys, and he almost came away with the first turnover of the game.
Well, how's that for a little surprise?
So what do I know, right?
And look at this. You're going to see different crazy type of lineups. As you saw, they were stacked up behind the quarterback, and instead this is a quarterback keeper, and Harrison Ayers, the quarterback, will run it around the right side for a few. He's a 5'9", 177 junior. He'll split some time with Asher Murray. Ayers is the starter, and he's got that's his 59th carry, just went over 300 yards, and 4 touchdowns on the season. They'll pound it down your throat with that guy. 3rd down and 7.
Yeah, well, Ayers is the type of guy you're going to see him do a couple of things, right? He'll play some fullback, he'll play some halfback, he'll play quarterback, and he's kind of a do-it-all type of guy, jack of all trades. He's a good athlete, and you're going to see a lot of different formations like this one. You're going to see end over with shifts. You're going to see a lot of things to try to get the Jesuit defense to move.
Simmons, the fullback, and the fake to him, and Ayers keeps. He's hit at the 30 and pushed back, got to the line of scrimmage and no more. So defending the triple option is not easy. Jesuit just gave us a lesson in how to do it well. Wade, how do you do it?
Well, you got to stay at home, and you've got to be assignment sound. The guys that are supposed to take the dive are supposed to be there to take the dive. The person that's supposed to take the quarterback needs to stay home and take the quarterback. And then the people who are supposed to take the pitch need to run downhill and take the pitch. Right there, they're getting Will Holmes, the free safety, really involved in the run game up front, really fast downhill coming from his free safety position because they're manning up on the wide receivers outside, and they're giving the alley, what they call the pitch alley, to the free safety, Will Holmes.
Abram Murray averages 40 yards a punt. He is a good one. A senior punter. Some rush. He'll line drive this one. Will take a bounce and a crazy little roll, and wisely, they just let that one go. And that was just a heads-up play back there by Roman Larray to just let that ball roll away. And after the punt, a 3-and-out punt, it'll be Blue Jays football. And Might the Blue Jays have anything tricky to start the game with?
Well, the first thing I want to talk about really quick is the punting game and the kicking game out there. All right, you're going to see a little bit different situation on a natural turf, but also the lights up in the stadium are a little bit different. It's a baseball stadium, been converted to football, so you might see some problems with the ball getting up in the lights and giving those returners a little bit of a problem.
Berrigan standing in the backfield next to Bo Perez, the quarterback, takes the handoff, goes straight ahead to about the 32-yard line. That'll get 3. And Bo Perez, it all just reflects around this big 6'5", 215-pound senior quarterback. He can do it with his legs. He'll run. He's got the big body, and he can make things happen, Wade.
Well, he's their leading running back. He's also their leading passer as the quarterback, obviously.
And this time a big hole on the left side, and Berrigan is through it. He is continuing to go, get the first down and a whole lot more. He is inside the 40-yard line of Byrd and down at the 35-yard line.
You're not going to see much out of Byrd's defense as far as different movements and different alignments. They're going to pretty much stay in a 4-2-5 type of look, zone coverage off the back side of it in the back end, and you're going to see mostly a 4-man front out of their defensive linemen. Great job right there by Jesuit, blocking down and kicking out and giving room for Berrigan to split and get into the secondary.
35-yard gain by Berrigan. Hey, Bo Perez is going long into the end zone, right through the fingertips of a man that was open in the end zone. He had the coverage beat, and Calvin McGee couldn't pull it in.
Yeah, right in his hands. Boy, Calvin McGee's going to look back at that, and he's going to want that back. That ball was spot on, dropping a dime by Bo Perez, but it started up front with great protection. Look at the time Bo Perez has a chance to set his feet and allow Calvin McGee to get on top of the corner, and he could lay that ball out there on a dime. That was a perfect pass, just not caught by McGee. Wow.
Let's see if they go back to something similar, as the Blue Jays have opened it up with wide open offense to hand off to Berrigan. This time, Byrd closes that hole on the left side, and he pushes back down to the line of scrimmage at the 35. No gain.
You're going to see a little bit of movement out of their front, even though it's a 4-man front. They're going to slant. They're going to pinch. They're going to run little games inside. Right there that time, they pinched the defensive ends down and slanted the tackles to try to kind of, I guess you would say, clog up the B gaps and the A gaps, and that's the reason why Berrigan couldn't pop that one.
This time an empty backfield. 3 wideouts down low, 2 to the top, and this is a run all the way by the quarterback, and he gets back to the line of scrimmage and no more. He may have lost a half yard on that play, and that'll bring up 4th down, and let's call it 11 at the Byrd 37-yard line, 36 and a half.
Ashton Fullwood makes that play. Nobody gets up to the second level to the linebacker, Ashton Fullwood. One of the things you got to do on the counter play, that was counter quarterback draw, I guess you would say, you got to get somebody up to the second level to block the linebacker. Nobody got there. Fullwood steps up and makes a great play on Perez.
A little too far for Ethan Cabas to try to kick this one, so they will throw the ball right over the middle, and it's off the fingertips and drop thrown just a little bit behind the intended receiver, Gavin Palmisano, and he is one of their top receivers, and if that ball's on target, who knows?
Well, look at the pressure that was applied right there. They brought a blitz. They brought a all-out blitz through the A-gaps. Somebody popped through, didn't pick up the blitz on the blitz pickup, and applying the pressure, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was Ashton Fullwood again, getting right into the face of Perez, throwing off of his back foot, even though it was a little bit behind him, had a chance to be caught.
So Jesuit turns it over on downs. Byrd has it 1st and 10 at the Yellow Jackets 36-yard line. And let's see if they just go all triple option and pound away, and that's exactly what they will do on 1st down as they give it to the fullback, Desmond Simmons, the big 5'10", 168-pound junior, straight ahead. He has rushed 139 times, make that 140 now, and he has just gone over 650 yards for the year.
You're going to see a lot out of Desmond Simmons, especially running the inside gives as well as the belly play, which is what they just ran right there. They're going to run a mix of wing T football, too, with their option game, which is something that kind of, I guess, adds on to their plate.
This time the fake to Simmons, and the quarterback Ayers will keep it, and he runs around the right side, or right through the right side of the line, rather, past the 40, short of the first down as he gets it up to the 43-yard line.
They're running midline option, disconnect, and here comes your free safety down in the box running in his alley just as he's taught. Nice job by Will Holmes getting downhill, making the play on the quarterback. Now, the reason why the free safety is allowed to get down there that fast and not honor the pass is because he has man coverage out on the edges by his two corners.
Well, one lineman just came in late, and boy, there's a lot of shifting, and somehow they got the block toward the middle of the line, which allows Ayers to run around the right side, and he does have enough for the first down. So it looked like a play with a lot of confusion, yet ends up with first down yardage for the Yellow Jackets at their own 48-yard line.
They're shifting the tackle to the other side. All this is just kind of like on a dinner plate, right? You got the little, I guess the floury stuff on the edge to make the plate look nice, but the meat and the potatoes was the inside veer. Ayers pulls the ball and has a nice pickup to pick up a first down. Now, look, he's getting banged up. He is a physical kid. We're talking about Ayers, a quarterback from C.E. Byrd.
So when they stack the backs like that, is that they're just trying to confuse the Jesuit defense a little bit, keep them guessing until they get up to the line to get the play?
Right, exactly. They're just trying to maneuver their personnel around to be able to not let Jesuit get a key on who's lining up where, and that allows them hopefully to get a mismatch on the Jesuit personnel or the defensive personnel that they're lining up against.
The quarterback Ayers with the keeper, crosses the 50 to the Jesuit 49-yard line, a gain of 3, second down and 7. We have yet to see, watch him as you look at your screen, number 4, Malachi, they call him Magical Malachi Johnson. He does some... He's just got the potential, and he has all year broken some big plays. And just as we say it, they toss it to Malachi, and he's not breaking anything there. He gets tossed out and loses what they had gained on the last play, gets back to the original line of scrimmage. So it'll be third down, 10 coming up for the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, James Ronica saw that coming, right? They shifted to a trips formation, tight slot. Ronica read it perfectly. They turn around, toss the ball to the tailback. That was in a tailback position that time. Ronica comes flying downhill from his linebacker position, makes a great tackle, and it's going to bring up third and long for Byrd, which is not what they want to be in. They want to be in more third down and manageable situations because, like we said, they don't like to throw the football, or they try to stay away from throwing the football.
And they've only thrown it once so far in this game. Ayers with a good fake on the handoff, doesn't make the pitch, maybe he should have made the pitch, gets to the 50-yard line, gain of 2, and that's going to be up. Fourth down coming up, and they're going to have to punt the ball away to the Jesuit Blue Jays.
You know, they also play a lot of field position, so now they got a chance to flip the field with the punting game and make Jesuit have to drive a long way. And they're a patient defense. They're a patient offense. They're going to play the field position. They've done it all year. If they can get you with your back up against the wall, force a turnover, and now they've got the offense out there again on a short field, that's the type of game they like to play.
Well, line shot. Larray pulls it in at about the 12-yard line and comes to the near side. Gets a nice return out to about the 25, 26, 27 in front of the Jesuit bench. We'll see where they spot it. And the Blue Jays have it for their second possession of this football game. 3 minutes and 42 seconds to play first quarter. This will be the Blue Jays' second possession with the football. And the official, the linesman, spotting it now at the 27-yard line of the Blue Jays. So they've started at their 29 and their 27. So Bo Perez at quarterback. And this time a quick pass, and he has thrown complete to Adrian McSpadden. And McSpadden with the catch, and that is his first of the year.
Yeah, Jesuit likes to be balanced. They're going to run the football. They're going to spread the ball around by throwing it. And the guy to do it, of course, is going to do a great job throwing the ball around out there is going to be Bo Perez. You know, he's a solid player, right? Last week against Rummel, you know, he had he was 12 of 29 for 203 yards, and so he's solid.
This time a gift to Landon Garcia, and he takes it up after that gain of 9, and looks like The gain of 9 on first down had made it 2nd down and 1. He's got the first down. I'm not sure why it's taken them so long to move the chains, but they are now.
Well, we got a officials association out of Baton Rouge. These guys are a playoff crew, so all of these associations that send guys out on the playoff weeks, these are experienced crews. It's a 7-man crew tonight. You're going to play with a different officiating crew each week in the playoffs.
Perez to throw long. They're going to go forward again. He's got a man on, just overthrows him. He had a little bit of spacing that he needed and slowed up. It almost looked like the receiver slowed up there in McSpadden, Adrian McSpadden, the freshman, the 5'8 freshman, and he did a good job using his hands to create a little space, and in doing so, he slowed up just a second. It's going to show up right here. Well, that was the replay.
Needed a little air under that ball, right? That thing was on a rope. Right?
Yes.
I mean, Bo Perez threw like a 100-mile-per-hour fastball for about 40 yards. That shows the strength of his arm. Needed a little air under that. The freshman McSpadden got on top of the corner real nice, right? In a nice little double move, little hitch and go. You'll see that again. They'll come back to that again. They've thrown 2 deep balls, and they've missed both of them just by inches. They'll come back to that. They like to stretch the ball vertically. They like to go after and get the big pop, right? Teams that do those sort of things open up the running game by trying to keep that secondary from coming down inside to get extra players on the run game.
Jesuit's got a lot of young underclassmen on this team, and you can see one of them, as we said, Adrian McSpadden, getting some reps here as a freshman, 5'8". You know what, too? I've got to take a look at this. It might be. We'll check that in. We've got a double number. Bo Perez in trouble, and he can't get rid of the ball, and he is sacked back at the 30-yard line. Big loss on the play.
Yeah, getting home was number 3, Sam Greer, linebacker, as well as it looked like 94, Daryl Cottingham. These two guys get off their blocks nicely. Everything's covered up. Perez has no place to go, allows a lot of white jerseys to get there, and we've got our first sack of the night. It's going to bring up 3rd and a decade.
Yeah, 3rd and real long here. They got to get to their own 48-yard line for a first down. Right now, that the Blue Jays are at their own 31. Play action. Perez to throw long. This time he gets the air under it. He's got a man open right through the hands of Larray. Oh, my goodness. Roman Larray. My Lord. That's the second one that the Blue Jay receivers have just let slip right through their fingers.
Well, it's the 3rd deep ball, the 3rd vertical that they've thrown tonight. That was just a straight go route, right? Ball hits them right in the hands. You got to catch that football.
Yeah.
Right? Wow. I mean, what a dime again. Bo Perez drops in there.
So that means punt time for the Blue Jays. And Cabas.
He put that one on the tent.
Yeah.
It's going to be where it went out, and Byrd's going to start off in great field position.
Just kind of shanked that one off his leg, and wow. Well, when it's not going right for you in the first quarter, it's just not going right. Couple of big gainers, possibly a second touchdown slipping right through the hands, and then the shank punt gives Byrd the ball at the Blue Jay 44-yard line. Wow.
Well, they were trying to directionally punt the ball over to Byrd's right-hand side, Jesuit's left side, and he just kind of hit it a little thin, right? Kind of like, me hitting a thin 8-iron, right? And it just kind of, floated over there and landed on top of the tent. But Byrd's back in business, right, at the Jesuit 48, and that's their game, right? They're trying to play field position.
They hand it off. This time to the fullback, Desmond Simmons, over the right side for a few, not much. Jesuit's done a pretty good job of clogging up that line and plugging up the holes.
Well, they want to establish the fullback right there. They're running the belly. They want to get everything handled as a defense inside in between the tackles and shutting down the fullback, right? And you play the option, you play the belly, you play it all from inside out, making sure you take away the stuff inside the tackles and then you work outside into the alleys, into the pitches, right? So they're trying to establish, talking about Byrd here, Simmons in between those tackles.
Well, boy, for a moment I thought he was going to throw, but he pitches instead, and around the right side on the pitch for some yardage. And that was,
I believe,
Malachi Johnson.
Yeah, Magical Malachi, who comes in 81 carries, 936 yards, 15 touchdowns. He's their big guy that will break the ball out on the edge. He averages, now get this, Ken, 10.9 yards an average this season.
And the reason for that, Wade, is he's reeled off a couple of runs of 62, 60, and 40 on different drives. And, man, that just allows him to do some special things. They use that little pitch, put it on the ground. And was that a forward pass, forward pitch, or was that considered a fumble? If it is, they're saying incomplete pass. I thought he pitched it forward, but wasn't sure.
They're calling it a forward pass. 84 for Jesuit comes up with that. Will Barry, let's see. Yes, that was forward. So they're going to call that incomplete.
That'll bring up fourth down for Byrd.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to Malachi Johnson for a minute. I thought he had that average because he was magical.
Well, he's definitely, if you can start reeling off runs with those kind of numbers, I think I would classify that as magical. Here they're going forward on fourth. Here we go. No field goal attempt, and the quarterback will keep it. This is Asher Murray in at quarterback. He dives for it, and did he get it or not? No, he didn't get it. Jesuit holds and takes over on downs. They put in Asher Murray on that play. He is the younger brother of the kicker and punter Abram Murray, and as we said, you'll see him and Harrison Ayers sub in and out for each other at the quarterback slot. So the Blue Jays take over as the Yellow Jackets miss a golden opportunity, having taken over that ball at the Jesuit 44, and they turn it over on downs. So the Blue Jays now have it. And on first down, Bo Perez on the run, breaks a tackle. Bo Perez has a first down, has more. It's across the 50 and down to the 45-yard line, very close to it.
Yeah, well, Bo Perez is their leading rusher also, right? Your quarterback is your leading rusher. You know, he comes in with 115 attempts, 482 yards rushing, right? 7 TDs rushing the ball. And when your quarterback has a 4.2-yard average, right, that means you're not getting much production out of your other running backs, correct? And he's a load to bring down.
21-yard gain for Bo Perez. And that's going to end the first quarter of play. So after 1 quarter of play, we are scoreless, as they were in the second game ever played against each other. It ended that way, and the old rule was penetrations inside the 20-yard line. Jesuit was allowed to advance in the playoffs, but you have to go back to 1933 for that one. Tonight's first quarter was brought to you by Lamarck Motor Company in Kenner. Lamarck has a brand new location at 6121 Jefferson Highway in Harahan. Lamarck, Crescent City Ford Trucks. We can't wait to see you there. Well, I tell you what, beautiful location and great place to have a truck dealership as the Lamarck empire just continues to grow. Thank you, Ronnie Lamarck and the Lamarck Motor Company, for sponsoring the first quarter of this game.
Well, you know, the thing that was fast about this first quarter, I hope everybody at home didn't blink, because the clock was running most of the time, because you're seeing Byrd pass the ball one time, if I'm not mistaken. You know, Jesuit has passed it a few more times, but they still want to run the ball. So the time you're going to get with things are going to be rolling fast. Jesuit's going to take over with great field position on the Byrd 45-yard line.
So here it is for the Blue Jays. And they will just hand off and keep that ball on the ground with Patrick Berrigan muscling his way down to the 41-yard line of Byrd.
Yeah, Patrick Berrigan is, a running back we've seen play for the past couple of years. He's the son of Jim Berrigan, a guy that played with me back in the day, right? And I'm saying back in the day, back in the 70s. His daddy was a pretty darn good linebacker for the Blue Jays. Comes from a great Jesuit family, the Berrigan family.
Second down and 6 from the 41.
Everybody to the left of Perez, and he'll throw it, and it is caught, and running out of bounds with it is Calvin McGee.
Yeah, a lot of room out there. That's stealing. You get one blocker on a soft corner. You bubble out with the inside slot receiver. That's like stealing. There's a good block there, and then you don't even see the corner in the picture, right? He's getting blocked downfield, by the other receiver, number 8, Lowry, doing a great job. That's stealing yards.
And a first down at the Byrd 30. Best penetration in this game into Byrd territory by the Jesuit Blue Jays, looking to draw first blood. And this one right up again. Berrigan, look, he muscles through. It's like a tank going through the hole. And he gets good yardage inside the 25, down to about the 22-yard line.
Yeah, hammering the inside zone. Great job by the guys in blue on the offensive line. Split zone, put somebody backside to make sure they get the guy feeding down the line. Everybody stepping hard zone play side. Creates a crease in the A-gap. Good read by Berrigan. And puts him in great position with 3rd and short.
Shifts 2 linemen to the left side, and that's the way Berrigan goes. He gets to the line of scrimmage, falls forward. It'll be close, but he's going to be short of the first down. Boy, the offensive line, you're right, has done just a fine job. Luke Underwood, Garrett Kelly, Spencer Wagispack, Luke Cunningham, and Sam Macalusa.
Yeah, and I was wrong. It was 2nd and short. It puts him in 3rd and short now.
Perez goes under center. He has 3 people in the backfield. Now looks over to the left to get a sign from the sideline. He'll toss it back. And here goes Berrigan around the left side. He's got the first down, breaks it. Think he stepped out of bounds, or did he? He gets into the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown, never stopped. And the officials call it touchdown. So he stayed in bounds, and Jesuit draws first blood. With the first score of this ball game, the Blue Jays lead the Byrd Yellow Jackets 6-0 with 9:56 to play in the first half.
Byrd stacking everything inside, expecting the tush push, right? So they have something built off the old tush push there. They toss the ball out to Berrigan with great blocking out on the edge, and Berrigan's running hard, has been running hard this whole half. He pops that thing down the boundary with great blocking out there on the edge by Lowry. Touchdown, Blue Jays.
Ethan Cabos to attempt the point after it hit the upright and bounces to the left. That's the 4th one in the last 2 weeks I've seen, whether it's college, pro, or high school, hit the upright and bounce back. No good. Missed it. 6-0 Jesuit.
Yeah, there's a rash of doinks going around right now everywhere at all levels. I mean, we're seeing it on Friday nights. Right, we've seen it on Friday nights. We've seen it on Saturdays, right? And we saw it on Sunday with the Saints. Like I said, it's a rash. Everybody seems to be catching it, and that includes the kickers, right?
Wow.
It's called the doinks.
Wow. Well,
in golf, it's called the shanks. In kicking, it's called the doinks. Right?
Had 2 in the Saints game, 1 in a college game that I saw, and then we see this one tonight. How crazy is this? Well, the Blue Jays draw first blood. How important is that when you play a team that can eat up time on the clock with a running game? They've only thrown 1 pass, and, of course, they had the little forward shovel pass that was incomplete. So they're officially 0 for 2 passing for the Yellow Jackets.
Well, the thing about it is they are eating up the clock. That's a part of their game. That's a part of their MO offensively. But you got to come away with points, or you got to make your opponent drive with a lot of field in front of them, correct? And they didn't do that. Jesuit started on the 45 of Byrd in great field position, and they took advantage of it and stuck it in for a score.
Well, fair caught by Malachi Johnson, and Byrd will have pretty good field position to start their 4th possession with the football, with 9:56 to play here in the first half. They'll have it at their own 33-yard line. Well,
You're not going to see much different out of the Byrd offense except for some different formations and things of that nature. And Jesuit seems to be happy sitting in man coverage with a single high safety coming down and running those alleys.
Simmons, the fullback. He gets it and is smothered in the backfield as soon as he gets his hands on the football by big Will Allen.
Yeah, Will Allen, nice job. When you're playing well up front with your front six and front seven right there against an offense that is going to run the ball like this, nicely done right there on the replay. It's hard to move the ball with any type of consistency. It's going to put you in long down and distances like this, second and long.
Second tackle for loss of the season for Will Allen, who also has 2 sacks. Second down, long. Here's the flip back, and this one's going to Mowbray. Mowbray around the left side, and he will move the chains. Got enough for the first down. First time Jontavius Mowbray has really touched that football. He's a 5'11 senior, 164 pounds, and he just went over 400 yards rushing.
Yeah, nicely done off of the inside. Veer, pull, disconnect. Read very nicely by Ayers. Getting the ball outside to Mowbray. He turns the Jets on. That's where they get their big plays, is when they can get them out on the edge and use their speed.
And that time a big hole on the left side. Simmons, the fullback, threw it for a few.
Yeah, I love the belly. That's reversing out, handing the ball to the fullback deep so he can pick his hole. They will sometimes run a nice little G block where they're going to pull a guard, kick out, the play side guard, kick out, and they get a down block, which they did right there. You can see number 79 pulling from his left guard position to go kick out somebody on the Jesuit defense, and the fullback following right in behind him for a nice little gain.
Well, nobody else on the team has run the ball more than 50 times, and Simmons has run it now about 145. So you know if he's in the backfield, he's probably going to get the handoff. He's in the backfield, but not this time. Mowbray, Jontavius Mowbray gets the call, and Jesuit stuffs him as he tries to go up the middle. The Yellow Jackets count on their offensive line to be able to open up some holes. They're very deep. They go too deep on the offensive line all across. Dylan Gelly on the left tackle slot, Tanner Morrell, Elijah Shembles, Noah Slaughter, and Owen Scott are the starting 5 across that offensive front, but they get well rested with some other linemen coming into the game also, and they've done a pretty good job for the Yellow Jacket running backs all year, which you have to do in this offense, right?
Well, they're deep there. They're just not very big, but they're very fundamentally sound on the things that they do.
3rd and 6. Pitch back. Well played by the Blue Jays. Yet a good little sidestep by Malachi Johnson. He can't break it, though, and will not get the first down.
Very well defended by the corner. Back out to the boundary for Jesuit. Getting off the block, coming up, and turning the pitch inside. You can see it happening right here, and that is number 18, Will Holmes, I believe, out there, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they had him moved out to the corner right there. Nicely done coming up and turning the pitch back inside so the rest of the Blue Jays could pursue and make a play.
So Abram Murray with another one of his line drive picks. This one he just pulled to the left, and it just checks up like a golf shot at the 23-yard line of the Blue Jays. So Jesuits, leading 6-0, will take over the ball deep in their own territory with 6 minutes and 52 seconds to play in the first half. Why did he kick the ball out of bounds?
First of all, you can't do that, right?
Did they drop the flag?
I don't see it. They're talking about it right now.
They're talking about it.
Okay. Well, number one, that looked like my tee shot hooked off of the tee, right? Number two, it looked like a Byrd punt coverage person just kicked the ball out of bounds. That should be a penalty. I did not see a flag. It looks like they're not assessing anything. And
even if it was an inadvertent, you still cannot kick it. So
okay. Well, we're playing ball. So there we
play
go.
Football. Here we go. Absolute. Bo Perez. And now a flag is thrown.
Flag, no play.
Yep, we've got a little offsides there. Byrd defender decides to jump into the neutral zone. They're going to kill that immediately and move the ball up 5 yards, and you're 1st and 5.
Patrick Berrigan is the running back. And he will get the handoff, and he's got the first down across the 35-yard line up to the 36-yard line, and a big hole opened up on the left side that time for Patrick Berrigan.
Hey, great power scheme. We're going to see it here on our replay. Watch the kick out right here by the fullback and the wraparound by the guard. Nicely done by the guard, coming up and smothering the linebacker. He's looking to the next level. He does a great job smothering that linebacker, which allows Berrigan to pop through and pick up the first down.
Boy, Ethan Schenkel and Christopher Byrd on the offensive line helped to open up that big hole, and they did it well. 1st and 10 at the 37-yard line.
Well, here comes another 5 yards.
So 2 penalties on this drive, a 5 and a 5. Byrd maybe tried to jump the gun, Wade, a little anxious to make a stop.
Well, you got to have a ball key, right? I mean, here we are, week 11. You just shouldn't be jumping off sides like that. You think stuff like that drove me crazy, right? I mean, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You know, that's just giving away yardage.
At the 41-yard line, it's now 1st and 5, and the Blue Jays won't make the first down, but they'll get pretty doggone close with that run as the Jays showing they can keep it on the ground, too. Patrick Berrigan rolling up some nice yards.
Yeah, same play as we saw before. Here's the power kick out right there, kick out, and the wrap by the guard.
And then kick right up the middle, and they're saying, we've got that ground game working, too. And I'll tell you, Berrigan has just been... And he's been like a tank going through that line. He has been very hard to bring down. He just churns those legs and keeps moving. Another first down for Jesuit, and they moved it now down to the 47-yard line of Byrd. Here comes the pass from Bo Perez, and it's almost picked off by defensive back J.D. Gallman.
Yeah, Gallman almost picked that off. A former quarterback, right, who was moved over midway through the season out there to corner to bolster up the secondary for Byrd. Should have had that thing picked. They're running a vertical and a stop. Ball's overthrown by Bo Perez. He misses right there. They're trying to run the seam in between the safety and the corner. It was nicely won by the receiver. Ball not on the right spot. Gallman almost had a pick. Gallman should have had that pick.
Calvin McGee with single coverage up at the top of your screen. Bo Perez on 2nd and 10 will give the Berrigan gigantic hole. Berrigan right through it, has another first down, and it's across the 30. They'll mark him down at the 30 exactly where he went down. And it looks like this Jesuit offensive line is starting to wear down the Byrd defensive front.
Yeah, with the left side of the offensive line, Macaluso and Berg, those guys are just ripping those white jerseys up on that left side.
17-yard gain followed by another 4-yard gain. And Patrick Berrigan, the senior, just running like a workhorse, came in here with 81 carries for 260 yards. And we don't have an official count yet, but we take a look at what he did. Berrigan's got to be approaching 100 just here in this first half. 105 is the word. 105. Wow. So Berrigan, what a first half he's having. Bo Perez says, let me try it. And he gets inside the 20, and he's down to the, let's see where they mark it. It's going to mark it at the 17-yard line.
Same scheme, except the quarterback's going to run the ball instead of Berrigan. They're going to get the kick out. They're going to get the wrap. And now look at the hole right there. Great job by the offensive line of the Blue Jays. Allows Perez to burst into the secondary for a huge gain.
And this time a give. They will keep it on the ground. It's working so well. Why change it? But this time running the football is Landon Garcia.
Yeah, Landon Garcia, you know, he's getting a little chance here to be able to get a few reps in. Comes in with 397 yards.
Gets the call again inside the 10-yard line, and he will... How close is he to that first down marker? He's got it. It'll be 1st and goal.
A lot of tempo here by the Blue Jays right now. They're trying to pick up the speed.
Yeah, they picked up the pace. They definitely picked up the pace, but did they call timeout?
I believe Byrd called timeout.
Byrd called timeout, and that might be just trying to slow them down a little bit, Wade.
Well, they're trying to catch their breath, too.
Yeah.
You can see by their body language. Look, you can see how they're walking off, hands on their knees. They have a little body language issues right now, and I'm sure Coach Ballou sees that, calls a timeout. Right time to do that. Great chance for them to catch their breath. They want to try to put some sort of stand here together before they go down 14-0.
Be the host of your next event. Check out shrineofairline.com for facility details. Or call 504-547-8500. Check out Shrine on
Well, I'm watching one of the Jesuit players ran onto the field. Just bringing some water to the officials.
Yeah, well, those guys need it too, right? No doubt about
Absolutely.
it. So,
Hey, listen, that's hospitality. Good job by Brody Davis, I believe. So we're ready to go. Here come the Blue Jays after that Byrd timeout, trying to slow them down just a little bit. Jesuit leading 6-0. Can they add to it? Here's one right up the middle and a scoot into the end zone. Touchdown, Patrick Berrigan. They handed it off to the workhorse, and he goes in for the score.
yeah, Berrigan's having a career night, right? That's his second score of the evening. He's over 100 yards rushing the ball. He's running north and south. This is a great night for this senior to be able to have some great memories in the first round of the playoffs.
And the point after kicked up by Ethan Cabos. And this one is good. Jesuit leads it 13-0. Wow. Well, how about this for Patrick Berrigan? 13 carries, 112 yards. And we're in the first half, folks, with 3 minutes and 56 seconds to play, including runs of 33, 22, and 17. Patrick Berrigan, wow, what a night he's having.
Well, credit this offensive line doing a great job so far here in the first half. No answer for Byrd, right? Byrd has not come up with an answer defensively to handle the power game, the power running game of Jesuit, or the gap running game, should I say, of Jesuit. So they're going to have to do something at halftime to try to make some adjustments.
Well, if so, that was a 7-play drive, and just Jesuit taking opportunities, and talk about making it happen. Sometimes you say, hey, we're going to take what they're giving us. They're creating the holes and making it happen. Another short pooch kick. This will be fair caught again at the, looks like at about the 30-yard line, right on the nose. So
it seems to me that Jesuit's not going to put the ball into their returners' hands. They're going to make sure that they kick it to those upbacks and cover and just making sure that those sky kicks are covered well.
Yeah. And look, a sky kick that's fair caught, even if you kick one out of the end zone, you're not giving up that much difference in yardage. So Byrd playing from behind now, trailing 13-0, is desperate to try to get something on the scoreboard, starting at their own 30-yard line. And we've got a whistle and a flag, illegal procedure.
Well, that's the third penalty tonight for some sort of offsides or procedure by Byrd.
Mm-hmm.
Those are just killers. You can't do that in the first round of the playoffs.
That backs it up to the 25-yard line and 1st and 15 for a team that does not like to throw the football. As we said, coming in here.
Well, they're off schedule now, Ken. The problem is they're behind the sticks. They can't be off schedule. This type of offense has got to stay inside the sticks and stay on schedule.
Asher Murray is in at quarterback. Murray will hand it off to the fullback, Desmond Simmons, and he just crashes right ahead. He got the penalty yardage back and a nice gain out of it up to the 34-yard line.
Yeah, they run the inside veer. Nice read. It's a good give read right there. Gives the ball. And they pick up the yardage they lost on the illegal procedure.
And 4 more to boot. So that makes it rather second down and 7. And Murray will keep nowhere to go. Jesuits playing the edges really well on this option game.
Stringing it out. They Byrd that time runs the option to the short side of the field because the numbers were to the wide side of the field, right? Jesuit takes their corner and their strong safety, moves it to the wide side of the field, and they leave back over here an outside linebacker. But you see the free safety being the extra guy running down into the alley, into the short side. So it balances itself out. Great job by the Jesuit defense. Great game plan by the Jesuit coaching staff.
Again, you've got two quarterbacks. They're both used a lot in this running game. This is the younger one, the sophomore. Harrison Ayers, the starter, is the junior. Asher Murray is the sophomore. They just had a play come in from the sideline. Let's see if it's anything tricky. Well, it won't go because flags are thrown all over the place.
You know, Byrd's, the way you combat what Jesuit has given you defensively with the free safety is you throw a post behind him or something vertical behind him to get him from running downhill. Here's our official call. It's like we get some sort of illegal motion or illegal shift, right?
Yes.
Jesuits are going to decline that.
And as you said at the start of the game, this is officials from the Baton Rouge Association.
Correct. And I'll talk more about later what Byrd needs to do to try to keep the safety from coming down in the box and being that extra player.
So decline that, brings up 4th down. And the Yellow Jackets will have to punt it away, and there's that little rugby-style punt. And he'll line drive it, and it'll be touched down at the 24-yard line of the Jesuit Blue Jays. Well, the Jesuit Blue Jays, who are up 13-0, have 2 minutes and 52 seconds to see if they can add something to that score.
Well, they can strike fast because they can throw the deep ball. They've got the arm out of Bo Perez. They've got the set of receivers they can do that. So, you know, Jesuit has everything on their, I guess you would say, their play sheet to be able to use, to be able to strike in 2:52 plus 3 timeouts, right, Ken? So,
yeah,
you know, everything's right there for them, and Byrd hasn't seen to stop them all night tonight. And you take away a couple of deep balls that were just off the fingertips, which sooner or later they're going to hit one of those things. You know, Byrd needs to make some adjustments.
Yeah, and I'd say they might have to throw the ball a little bit more. They've only thrown it twice, and one was a little bitty shovel pass forward. And again, we know how little, we've talked about in this first half, how little they throw the football, but you're falling behind 13-0. You're not generating very much offense, and the Blue Jays are sort of moving it at will and eating up time. They're getting their time of possession in by keeping the ball on the ground for most of it. To the 29 on 1st down, the gain of 5. Here we go, 2nd and 5 for the Blue Jays.
A lot of cushion on those receivers on both sides of the Jesuit offense.
This Landon Garcia. And here comes a flag thrown after the play.
Well, something either was said.
It looked like something was said, but from up here we can't tell. We're in an enclosed booth, so it's...
Well, I think they were talking about the hospitality offered here in New Orleans to the friends from the north up in Shreveport.
So let's
see. The friends from Shreveport talking about.
Personal foul, the indication against Byrd.
Talking about the lack of hospitality, right? One of the two. Something was said, they're going to move it 15 yards, dead ball foul, and Jesuits back in business right around midfield. Those are killers.
Yeah.
Killers. You just can't do that.
Well, that moved it up to the 47-yard line. 1st down, handoff Garcia. Garcia fighting his way. Gets close to midfield. They'll down him at the 48.
Yeah, watch Jesuit to take a shot here pretty soon.
Well, they've had a couple of shots that have slipped right through the hands of receivers who had beaten the coverage. Either one of those caught would have been 6 more on the board. And Perez that time throws it. Well, there was miscommunication somewhere. He wasn't throwing it away, so it just wasn't on the same
Bo
wavelength as Kyle Collins.
Right. Bo decided to zig. Kyle Collins decided to zag, right? Somebody was not on the same page, and you could see the vertical route. He thought he was going to get broken off to the boundary. But I want everybody to take a look at the room they're giving the receivers We're talking about the Byrd corners giving the Jesuit receivers on the field. They're playing it almost at 10 yards off of them.
Dropped the snap, which was low, and he put a knee on the ground when he picked it up, so it'll be down right there.
Now, that's another thing you can't do as an offense is give your quarterback in the gun a bad snap, right?
Yeah.
You've been doing that all year long. Those things have got to be automatic right now.
So that backs it up to the 43-yard line of the Blue Jays, making it 4th down. Hold up. 4th and 14. And with 1 minute 13 seconds, Blue Jays are just letting as much of it run down as possible. And then they may call timeout and shift to a punt formation, my guess. And that's what they're going to do, I believe. The flag went down, so I thought they may call one of their timeouts remaining. Before so, no flag. Flag is waved off. The timeout did get called in time.
Well, not very aggressive on that series by Jesuit. You had a miscommunication with the receiver and a quarterback. I expected to see, with the cushion out there on the boundary, a little bit more pushing down the field, taking advantage of those soft corners. 3 timeouts. I expected to see a little bit more aggressiveness out of the Jesuit Blue Jays. Just didn't see it.
Andrew Bourdalon. And to punt. And he shanks one. He gets a little bit of a roll. And it bounces at the 50, then goes out of bounds at about the 48-yard line. Let's see where they mark it officially, of Byrd. So believe it or not, with 48 seconds, Byrd just got what might have been a length of a field drive cut in half to about a what might be now a 53-yard drive. Byrd has a very good field goal kicker. He's got 40-yard range easily. Everything from 49 on in this year he has made.
Well, they got a great opportunity with the shanked punt right here. It's been a rough night for the kickers, right? We got Doinks, we got Shanks, we got everything, right? So, Byrd is in a great opportunity right here. They need to come away with some points to get something positive going into that locker room.
He will pitch on first down, and Malachi Johnson nowhere to go. They've got to run it. Clock still ticking.
Number 4, Malachi Johnson. Tackle made by number 84, Will Berry.
Murray at quarterback, rolling to the left, and he will throw down into the dirt. Ball maybe slipped out of his hand, but that was not what he wanted to do. And
well, that's not his MO, right? So you could see as a left-handed thrower, the ball just kind of came out of his hand kind of wobbly, and it was, it was like a bad throw from second base over to first base.
Neither Harrison Ayers or Asher Murray at the quarterback slot has been able to get anything started for this Yellow Jacket option offense. So coming into the game, Jontavius Mowbray, he will check in. At one of the wingback spots. Murray, they fake the vert, throws the little pass, and that time Mowbray just had to go out and get it. It was there, and Mowbray for some reason just held up a little bit and then couldn't find it or couldn't get it, and it falls incomplete.
Well, they faked the reverse right here off the option and try to dump it out to the pitch back that was heading in that direction with the bad throw, right? So look for that reverse again to be ran out of a different formation in the second half by Byrd.
Abram Murray in to punt. He is the older brother of Asher Murray, the quarterback. And he gets the punt off under a big rush. Fair catch called for and fumbled. It's loose on the ground. Byrd's got it at the Jesuit 20-yard line with 12 seconds to play in the half. Well, you often say how that'll drive you crazy from a coaching standpoint.
Well,
you got to catch it.
I was down there on the field before the game, and I was talking to some of the Jesuit coaches about the problem with the lights here at the Shrine on Airline. It's a baseball stadium, right? So the level of the lights, depending on the way they're set, a lot of times they're set for baseball. So when that punt gets up right into those lights, which that possibly could have right there, which could have caused a problem for the returner. But the bottom line is if you lose the ball in the lights, get away. Just get away. Just peter the ball and get away.
Now this time they go back with starting quarterback Harrison Ayers. He'll make a great fake on the dive and then keeps around the left side. And they'll stop the clock with 5 seconds remaining. So one more play. And will Byrd settle for the field goal and points on the board to bring the lead within 10? Again, they've got a field goal kicker who has been solid inside of the 30-yard line. Well, from the 30-yard line in, actually from the 40-yard line in, he has just been rock solid.
Yeah, that's what they're going to do,
yep,
and
they will.
Which is the smart thing to do, and they want to be able to try to, like I said, get something going with a little momentum walking in at halftime. You got to remember, Jesuit's going to get the ball to start the second half. So if you can walk in with at least 3 points, hey, you can walk in the locker room and have something positive to say to your guys as a coaching staff.
Snapper is Grant Johnson, a defensive end, and the holder is J.D. Gallman, a cornerback, but the quarterback to start this season. Not expecting anything but a solid kick here from the 24-yard line, a 34-yard field goal attempt, and it is up and no good. Couldn't tell on our angle. It was close. We had to wait for the officials, but they miss it.
Yeah, rough night for kickers, right?
Yeah, you just said it. And that's going to bring the first half to an end.
Uh-oh, we got a flag out there.
Wait a minute, there's a flag. So Jesuits running into the locker room. They're not aware of it.
We've got something going on. I think the Byrd players thought that he made it, and they might have turned around and said something to the official. Official threw the ball on the ground, or threw the flag on the ground. So here's our explanation.
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
There he is. It was unsportsmanlike conduct, so it'll be enforced on the kickoff.
Yes, because Byrd won the toss. They chose to receive. They've got to kick off the Jesuit, and now they'll have to do it from 15 yards further back. Wow.
Well,
halftime.
Something was said right after the kick because the Byrd kicking team stood there and acted as if it was a good kick. It was good. As Jesuit runs off the field, as soon as they see the arms waving, that it was a missed field goal, right? So something was said, and now they're going to be kicking from a hole to start the second half.
Wow. Well, your comments on the first half, your thoughts on this first half.
Well, Byrd's got to come up with some answers for the running game of Jesuit. Jesuit is found a different back tonight to move the ball with besides their quarterback.
Patrick Berrigan.
Yeah, Berrigan is the guy that has been the bell cow for the Blue Jays, and it's been simple stuff, power O, counter trays, things like that, to be able, inside zones, to be able to move the ball, and it just seems Byrd does not have an answer for Berrigan tonight. And, Bo Perez has been spot on with the things he's trying to do, so he's going to come out the second half. He's going to put a little bit more air in their ball as he walks in at halftime and he looks at his receivers and says, guys, catch the football. They catch the football a couple of times, it's a 4-score lead.
That's right. If they catch the two that slipped right through their fingers, they had beaten the coverage. It's 27-0 right now at halftime rather than 13-0. But Berrigan, the guy, and he's putting up runs that you normally see from the backs in that triple option offense. He's putting up runs of 33, 22, 17, and went over 100 yards right before the last series began, of which Garcia carried most of the time. Berrigan had 112 yards on 13 carries, and that is very, very special. So,
like I said, he's the bell cow tonight for the Blue Jays.
Well, we
Look
do
for
have
more of him in the second half.
We got a lot to talk about in this Byrd and Jesuit series, but I got to tell you, folks, we've got a very special halftime feature for you. We're here at the Shrine on Airline, and it was announced this week that the state and Jefferson Parish has found some money, and they're now going to continue the renovation of this stadium to make it a true football stadium. As far as the seating goes, the field itself is very nice, but to have some seating on both sides and maybe make a horseshoe out of it, not sure what the final plan is going to be. Lenny Van Gilder put this one together. Let's take a listen.
Ken, thanks. And sitting here in the office of Councilman at Large Scott Walker, who has been a big proponent of some of the things that are getting ready to come down the line at the Shrine on Airline, which has started with high school football returning this fall, as we're seeing here tonight. And Scott, let's start there. How did we come to this point that we're having high school football back at the Shrine this fall after 3 years without it? And of course, in a metro area that we know that is starved for facilities to be able to play football.
It all started with crawfish, Lenny. JT Curtis and I were at a crawfish cook-off in Kenner, and he came to me and said, that building's just sitting there. It's collecting dust. Can we play there? And I said, well, it just so happens we're trying to revitalize that thing, and we're going to make it a better place. And if we can pull something off this year, it's sort of a sneak preview of what that building will ultimately be. So after months of negotiations with ASM and going through LSCD and John Curtis and JT Curtis and everybody involved there, we finally got a deal done that made sense for them, that made sense for everybody involved, and high school football is happening this season. So I think a total of about 10 games, not including the playoff games that'll be there.
Yeah, and of course, Curtis playing their home games. They get a first-round bye this week. They'll be back next week. Jesuit played 2 home games this year there. They are playing their home game there tonight. So maybe give us kind of a sneak preview of what is to come at this point. I know, drawings are preliminary and some things are still being determined, but where are we headed in terms of what the Shrine will look like down the road?
I think the ultimate vision is that it's a true multi-purpose facility, that it can host high school football. It could host the New Orleans Breakers if the USFL decides to relocate them here, which has been talked about. It could host rugby and soccer and concerts and anything else. So you're going to see the traditional baseball configuration go away, and that will become a traditional football configuration where the field is rectangular and squared up with the seats, so it's not so off kilter as it is now. You're going to have a true visitor side. I know the one drawback is for the visitors who come to the Shrine because you're sitting behind a goalpost. So there will be the visitor side that will be more than just bleachers. It'll be a nice looking visitor side with amenities, and then you'll have the home side, and you'll have everything that you want a state-of-the-art stadium to be. It'll be modern, it'll be shiny and new, and you have parking close by, you have tailgating right outside the stadium. It's just a real accessible building that you don't have to worry about safety, you don't have to worry about your windows being broken when you come out, you don't have to walk down blocks of side streets through neighborhoods to get to the stadium. It's truly going to be a great game day experience, and not just a game day experience, but like I said, an experience on a number of other levels as well. And to finish answering your questions, that was a long answer with not a lot of information. It's from the parish, there's about $15 million dedicated to this. The state will put another 10 to 15, maybe 20. If we can get them to put a little bit more money into this to make this what we want it to be. And if there's a permanent tenant, like a soccer team or somebody who is going to be in there year round, the design might look a little bit different because it'll be tailored to a full-time soccer tenant. But rugby will still have a home there. Football will have a home there. Permanent tenant or not, there'll be enough programming throughout the year to keep that building busy, and the renovation will reflect what will ultimately be there.
Yeah, of course, you've got a rugby team that plays 8-9 home games a year. Obviously, you've got high school football playing on maybe as many as 14 Friday nights a year. Always a lot of days on the calendar for some opportunity for some other things. I'm sure there's been, just like what's happened so far, there's been some out-of-the-box ideas in terms of what can happen to program this facility down the road.
Yeah, we say whatever wants to be here, we'd love to have it here. And for instance, if there's a full-time soccer tenant, a professional league, and we've had conversations with a couple of different potential long-term tenants, they would fill it basically throughout the year. I mean, they would have programming throughout the year at that stadium, which is great. And then you work in everybody else around it. And there would be enough room for everybody to coexist. You'd be able to have your high school football, you'd be able to have soccer, you'd be able to have rugby, and everybody could still be happy. You just have to move some things around. Not everybody's season overruns, and there wouldn't be a ton of conflict. So it would work pretty well. And the ideal thing would be to have that permanent tenant in there that helps with the renovation cost, because if there is that tenant that comes in, they would presumably put forth some of that money that would help make it into a building that would be a little more tailored to them. But if not, the renovation still goes on and it becomes just a different form of what it would have looked like at the end. A lot is still in flux. The planning phase is going to go through the first quarter of 2024, and then hopefully we'll be able to get rolling and break ground on it not too long after that. And then 18 months after that, we should be ready to go. So within 2 or 3 years, if we're optimistic, but it's government, so maybe 3+, we'll see. But as fast as we possibly can.
Maybe the fall of 25. Now, obviously, this was built as a baseball stadium. You've still got baseball fans in town, and I'm sure, just as I have, you've heard some of the naysayers are like, wait, this is a baseball stadium. Let's do everything we can to get baseball back. It's a different time and place for minor league baseball, and that can't be lost in all of this as well. But basically, to do this would pretty much eliminate the opportunity to try to bring minor league baseball back into this space.
Yeah, that's some of the things we first heard a year ago when this news came out, that this was part of the plan, like bring back baseball. Well, like you said, minor league baseball is in a different era right now, and it's a challenge to even think about bringing baseball back here. And most of the smart people we've talked to, and people, even some of the baseball people in this area, all agree that baseball is not coming back. It's just not going to come back to this area at that stadium like it was before. So yes, we'll close the door on baseball at that stadium forever. That's not to say something down the road could happen and another stadium comes up somewhere else in New Orleans or elsewhere. But right now, Jefferson Parish baseball, that chapter I think is ended, and it's because of the economics of baseball right now, and because of, look, it wasn't successful here for a long time. The Zephyrs did well for a period, and then the Baby Cakes went off a cliff, and it just wasn't doing as much as that building could do from a sales tax generation standpoint, and just from an attendance standpoint and a keeping it filled standpoint for a long time. But I think in the end, this will be a net positive for what that building can be, and it'll show its true potential.
As you head into a second term here in January, and 4 more years as a councilman at large, what are some of the things from an athletic perspective for the sports fans out there outside of this that you are optimistic of seeing happen here in the next 4 years in Jefferson Parish?
We've got the new ball facility on the West Bank in West Wego that'll be a multi-field facility that'll do so much for our parish. And there's still a lot of question marks with that about how it's going to look in the end. But there are a lot of exciting plans that could become part of that project that would make the baseball people here in Jefferson Parish very happy. We look at, from my office, a brief look inside the council. The district council members, there are 5 of them, and they have a lot more money to spend than we do. We have $200,000 a year from our economic development fund in the parish for the at-large offices. Each office is $200,000 a year, strictly dedicated to economic development opportunities. So what we do is try and identify economic development opportunities we can help with. A few years ago, Ed Daniels' Sugar Bowl basketball tournament, we helped keep here after COVID because it was running into some problems. And it was at the Ilario Center, and we made sure that they had everything taken care of that they needed to. So we want to attract events like that can bring people into our hotel rooms, that can keep some of our parents from traveling to far-flung destinations like Shreveport or Sulphur or Lafayette or wherever, and keep those people here and keep some of those events at the new shrine, at the Ilario Center, at our local park. So we keep that money here, and you can call it, we've kind of dubbed it sometimes athletic economy or athletic tourism or sports tourism, however you want to look at it. That's, I think, in a lot of cases, low-hanging fruit that you can go after and try and bring that here, keep that here, and make us an attractive destination. And we looked at it and we're like, what are these places like Shreveport and Sulphur and Lafayette, what are they doing to get these people to go there? Well, they're giving away the farm for them to go. So we tried to make it for a girls select high school basketball championship a couple of years ago at the Ilario Center. The boys didn't come because they wanted to play in Lafayette in the big arena. The girls decided to come though, and they left with more money than they usually do. They actually made money on the event because we took care of the security. We took care of some of the admission fees. We just covered a lot of the things they would have had to normally cover to get that event to come. We covered the cost of the Ilario Center. And when I say we, my office dedicated funding for that. And that's the kind of things you need to do to get those events to come here. And hopefully that was the start of more that we can do down the road as time goes on, because that's stuff we really want to attract and make part of Jefferson Parish. Yeah,
you just led me into the final question here. I mean, so many events like volleyball, which is going on this weekend. Used to be at the Pontchartrain Center. Now it's in Lafayette. Wrestling used to be at the Pontchartrain Center. Now it's been Shreveport, Baton Rouge. Things like what's going on at the Shrine and maybe some of these other opportunities. You obviously want to see more than just football being hosted in the Metro New Orleans area in terms of state championships.
Yeah, and we want those events. We want the volleyball. We want the wrestling. We want all those things to be here in Jefferson Parish. So if anybody's listening, we want you to come. We will help. My office will help with money. We will get you the incentives that you need to be here so that we can bring these things to Jefferson Parish. And like I said, put people in our hotel rooms, put people in our restaurants, and really make a difference locally in our economy. And no offense to the other parents who would have to travel from other places, but our parents get to stay home and they don't have to go to these far-flung locations to watch their kids on a Tuesday afternoon. They can have a more attractive game time where they can be here on a Friday afternoon, evening, or a Saturday afternoon and watch their kids at a reasonable time play sports.
Scott, we appreciate your time. Thanks for everything that you do for Jefferson Parish, and best of luck in your second term.
Thank you, Lenny. Can you see the shrine back there? Can you see it?
I think we can.
It'll look a lot better in a couple of years. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
We are back at the Shrine on Airline, getting ready for the second half, which will start probably in about 6 minutes in that area. And once again, Wade Kaiser announcing plans that the renovations on the Shrine on Airline are going to take place. That's exciting for coaches. It's especially exciting for Jefferson Parish schools. We'll have a chance to play here, and it'll take, I think, a little bit of the load off of City Park. That's Tad Gormley City Park.
Well, you said it perfectly. Take the load off of City Park Stadium and Tad Gormley and Pan American in Orleans Parish. And yeah, and it's going to give teams a chance to play more on Friday night, and that is huge, especially from the standpoint of the overall picture of prep football, because prep football is meant to be played on Friday night, college is meant to play on Saturday, and of course pros on Sundays, and high school coaches want to play on Friday night, and this is going to give them an opportunity to do so. The plans look outstanding. How will they actually come out? I think, it remains to be seen, but I think the commitment is there, the money is there, and it's a very exciting thing for prep football in the New Orleans area and Jefferson Parish.
Well, let's talk about this game a little bit, because we were expecting to see a high-powered, explosive, triple option Byrd offense from Shreveport. And it looks like they just had a little trouble getting off the bus after that long ride that began at 8:30 this morning, and take the normal 6 hours or so and add another hour to that for traffic problems along the way that had nothing to do with the Byrd problems. You're just in the buses and you're caught up in it, and you're diverted to Highway 1 and Highway 71, and you can't come down 49, and it just adds extra hours. And like you said, probably more aggravation to the coaches than the players, but you look at Byrd being a little sluggish in the first half, Wade, and you wonder if that trip had anything to do with them being as sluggish as they are.
Well, I've driven up and down Highway 71 a lot, especially through Voiles Parish and through Bunkie, right? It's a great area of our state to sightsee through, but you don't want to try to drive through there when you've got to go on destination to play a football game. I think the Jesuit defense has a lot to do with what's going on with the option offense of Byrd. The great game plan by the Jesuit coaching staff, being able to make sure they free up the safety for Jesuit, Will Holmes, to get down into the box and become the extra player on the option game. And, right now Byrd has no answer. And in order to have an answer for that, you've got to be able to throw the football a little bit. And as we've said a couple times already tonight, they've only thrown the ball 27 times in the past 10 games. So
and twice tonight.
Right, and twice tonight. So what's that, 29
And
total.
One was a shovel pass.
and you're not going to see much more in the second half out of Byrd throwing the football. But in order to loosen up that defense a little bit, and the free safety from Jesuit, who was doing a great job, as I said, you got to be able to take some shots down the field against the man coverage out on the flank, throw some verticals and throw some posts behind the free safety to get him to bite a little bit.
Well, Byrd's also got to find a way to stop Patrick Berrigan. What a great first half he had, rushing 13 times, 112 yards in the first half alone. Scored twice on runs of 22 and 7, and along with that 22-yard run, which was for a score, he also had a 17 and a 33. So it's been hand the ball off to him. And look, we talked about this. Bo Perez, even though it's been sort of a tough first half for him, he threw 2 beautiful passes that slipped right through the hands of Jesuit receivers who had beaten the coverage, and he put them where it was supposed to be. And both times, again, we're playing with footballs that are a little bit wet. The drizzle, I believe, has stopped, but the field was a little slick, so that's, I'm sure, part of the reason for it. But easily this could be 2 more scores on the board had they pulled those in.
Hey, bottom line, those balls should have been caught in the subject, right? A little slick, right. Not a little slick. Ball hits you in the hands, catch the football. This is week 11 of the playoffs, right? You will never, ever hear me say anything but if the ball hits you in the hands, catch the football, right? And I'm sure there were some words passed as those receivers were coming off to the boundary. But Byrd has no answer for the run game of Jesuit. That's and it's the power game, the inside zone game, and Berrigan is making all of the right decisions and cuts, and he is having a career night with over 100 yards rushing, as you said already, Ken.
Hey, I wanted to revert back just a little bit to talking about the Shrine on Airline and the renovations. We had Will Pennigy is covering tonight also for the Times-Picayune Advocate, and he has been texting back and forth with Gil Lebreton, who's watching us in Dallas. Thanks for watching, Gil. Really appreciate you watching up there. And he sent a text reminding us that the Rangers' former ballpark, Globe Life Park, was destined to be a parking lot for the new stadium, but now it's been repurposed, and the XFL team plays there, and Arlington School District plays 3 games a week in it now. It's called Choctaw Stadium, the casino sponsor there, and it's been a total success. So, Lenny, that's responding to your halftime interview, and Lenny Van Gilder is up here also covering for Crescent City Sports, and I'll tell you what, and you had a better seat with Scott Walker on what's happening. But, yeah, this is going to be just a beautiful thing. And I know we're getting back to that and away from football, but I wanted to respond to Gil's text while we're on this at halftime and can talk about it.
Right, and we've got the space here, and it's got the room, and the money and everything has been set aside with Jefferson Parish, and this is going to come out and be a first-class facility for prep football, not to mention also they're looking, of course, the NOLA Gold, which is the local rugby team that plays here.
Absolutely. So in the halftime locker room, take it from each side. You're the Byrd coach. What do you tell the Yellow Jackets? You're the Jesuit coach. What do you tell the Blue Jays? And remember, the Blue Jays are getting the ball, and not only are they getting the second half kickoff, but because of the unsportsmanlike penalty on Byrd on the last play of the first half, they're going to get 15 yards more added to that, so they're going to get great field position no matter what.
Byrd coaches told their players at halftime, hey, we've got to come up with an answer, and here is exactly what we're going to do in order to stop the Jesuit running game. All right? So whatever they did, I'm sure they made some adjustments. Offensively, what they've got to do is figure out a way to be able to get the ball or loosen up that front of the Jesuit front a little bit. They've got to be able to throw the football a little bit. So what do you tell in the Jesuit locker room? What did Coach Manali tell his guys? First thing he did is he went over to those wide receivers and said, hey, catch the football, right? Second thing, defense, doing a great job. Keep it up. Make sure you stay where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be, and how you're supposed to be. And they've done that in the first half. Great defensive effort by the Jesuit defense.
Well, Derek LeBeuf and Landon Garcia are back at the 10, but I don't think this kick can get that far, even though the kicker for Abram Murray for Byrd has a very strong leg, and sure enough, he does get it back, and even though they're kicking from 15 yards back, it bounces at the 1 and goes into the end zone for a touchback. He averages that's 60 to 65 yards on a punt, so there's the exclamation. You're right. Wow, exclamation point. Wow.
You know what he did? He ran off the field and just looked at the official.
Well, it took the officials long enough to look at each other and decide whether it was good or no good, and it's like, guys, call it. You're standing under each upright. Make the call.
Yeah, well, and, you just don't want to say those sort of things. Whatever they did say just kind of really irritated the white hat, and he threw the flag.
So the penalty did not come into play at all, and the Blue Jays will start from their own 20-yard line.
they have a chance, I think, to put a spike in it right now if they can stick something in the end zone in this first drive.
They're going to keep it on the ground because that's where they had all the success. And there we go again. It's Patrick Berrigan on the run for the left side, and he is near midfield. So this is going to be close to a 30-yard gain. Let's see. They will mark it just across the 50 to the 49-yard line. So how's that on first down? A 31-yard gain by Patrick Berrigan. So again, he's just starting this second half like he ended the first half. Another one of his long runs. First half again, 33-22-17. The 22 was a score, and he had a 7-yard score. It was the Patrick Berrigan night. So now from the 49-yard line, after that big gain, Berrigan gets the call, stood up, pushed back, maybe a yard. He got one to the 48.
Well, you're going to see, the same stuff, right? Jesuit still running the power O scheme, getting the kick out, the wraparound by the backside guard who did a great job on the previous play getting up to the linebacker, and Berrigan still running hard. He is having a career night.
70 degrees, just a little bit of a breeze blowing, if any, the flag barely moving, and the light rain, that drizzle has stopped. It is still a little slick out there from the 48-yard line, 2nd and 9. Berrigan picks a hole, cuts it, he breaks one tackle, and from the 48-yard line, flags are thrown, late flags coming in everywhere as Berrigan gets another big gain.
Yeah, he pops that. All of a sudden, he's in the secondary, and he's running wild. That's going to come back, I think. They're going to have a block in the back or a hold.
Wow, just wiped out almost another 20-yard gain. Close to a 20-yard gain if that one comes back. Oh, they had it to 38 from the 48. It sure looked like he...
Yeah,
they're marking it from the penalty. That's right.
Right. It's going to be marked from the spot.
That's right. From the spot.
From the spot. It's a spot foul when it's on the positive side of the line of scrimmage. That's the rule change this year by the Federation. Goes back to the line of scrimmage if it's behind the line of scrimmage.
And the net yardage on that was 8 yards gain to the 40-yard line. And this one goes to Landon Garcia. And Garcia pushes it down to the 30-yard line. So both Landon Garcia and Patrick Berrigan, the two Jesuit running backs, are sort of having a field day. They are, I think, just wearing out that Byrd defensive front. Quick toss, incomplete. I want to remind you that the third quarter tonight is brought to you by Gibbs Construction, a leader in construction in the construction industry in Louisiana and the Gulf Coast for more than 45 years, transforming dreams, visions, and plans into reality. Gibbs Construction.
Oh, that was just a bad throw right there. He just sailed it above Finnacle's head out there in the slot, and ball just sailed over into the sideline.
High snap. Perez pulls it down with one hand and still manages to hand it off. And Garcia gets inside the 30, down to the 29.
Byrd still sitting in the same front that they did in the first half. Everything is kind of still squared up. They're not going to move around a little bit except play some games with their defensive line, as I said, in the first half. So you don't really see many adjustments right there.
3rd down and 9. Perez again with a little bit of a high snap, and he will hand off to Garcia. Garcia breaks tackles. Garcia breaks another. He is into the end zone. Touchdown! Garcia. That's a 29-yard touchdown run by Landon Garcia, who I think walked the tightrope just a moment and managed to stay in bounds.
That might be coming back.
Wait a minute, that one might be coming back.
That might be coming back.
There's a flag down that we didn't see because it's in front, I guess, in front of the Jesuit sideline. If it did, it came very late when Garcia was running to that left sideline.
Yeah, they're going to bring that back. They got to hold. Let's see if we can see it on the replay. You can see Garcia takes that thing on the sweep and pops it right out. There it is, right there by an offensive lineman. I believe that was possibly Sam Macaluso, just 2-point takedown of a linebacker right there.
Wow.
And that's going to come back, and you're looking at now 3rd and long.
That was the first penalty against the Jesuit Blue Jays in this game. Snap, to Bo Perez. He's got a lot of room on the right side if he can turn the corner. He won't run. He'll stop. He'll throw. And the diving attempt at the catch. Did he make it? Let's see. If so, that's Caden Sanderson.
Bo Perez's pass complete to number 3, Caden Sanderson.
Yeah, you got.
Well, they say he dove and caught it.
Yeah, it's a catch, and Perez gets flushed out of the pocket and throws back across the field. Not a wise decision.
16.
I'm sure he'll get coached up on that when he comes off the field about throwing back across his body. Those balls usually have a chance to get picked, right?
First down at the 16-yard line. Jesuit will keep it on the ground because they're having success there, and it's running clock. Inside the 15 goes Landon Garcia again.
Yeah, they're just wearing out that left-hand side of that Byrd defense. They must have known and seen something from all the film study weekend, this past weekend, to see that is the side of the defensive line that they want to pick on. And they've been picking on that side all night long.
Another handoff. And trying to keep his feet. I believe that's Garcia again.
Yeah, that's Landon Garcia again, running the power off tackle again on that left-hand side. Like I said, they see something over there. They're just going to keep pounding it and wearing it out.
This time they're putting Galvin Palmisano one-on-one coverage all the way up to the top of your screen. Bo Perez, he'll hand it off. This one's going to Berrigan. Patrick Berrigan back in the game, and Berrigan for a short gain over the right side.
Yeah, Berrigan's been the bell cow, and he picks up a few more yards to add to his career night, and they're going to bring out the field goal team and take a shot right here. It hasn't been a great night for the kickers, right? So let's see how this lines up for
Now this looks like
the kicker for
a
Jesuit.
29-yard field goal, and it is kicked up, and Cabos puts it through. 29-yard field goal.
Great execution by the kicking team there. That allows Cabos to kind of get back on track, right? So he puts one through the uprights.
And the Blue Jays lead it 16-0 with 7:31 to play in the third quarter. And I think the biggest thing for Jesuit in this game, besides having a running game that's working, is they're using it to take precious seconds off the clock. They're running clock. They're handing Byrd the type of game that Byrd normally plays, just a ground control game that they have long, sustained drives, and they've managed to put 2 touchdowns on the board and get the field goal there.
Well,
missed one missed extra point.
The other thing is they've got one of their running backs going. Well, both of them are going. Berrigan's having, like I said, a great night, but Garcia seems to be having a good night also. But this is a credit to their offensive line that is playing well. And so when you've got all of that as a combination, as an offensive play caller, you have a tendency to kind of keep hammering the things that are working for you, and that's what's working, and that's why they're hammering the running game.
Well, this one's a deeper pooch punt, and Byrd's got a little bit of an opportunity to return. Matthew Boris on the return, and he got a good return with good yardage back out to the 32-yard line.
Well, we're going to see if Byrd has come up with any type of answer for this Jesuit defense. Even if you can't throw the ball very well, you need to put a scare into that defense just simply from the standpoint of taking one and chunking it out there and see what happens, right? Off of some sort of play action, or maybe a halfback pass or something like that to try to catch them running downhill to stop the run.
And as we said, this is a team that does not throw the ball very much. 5 receivers with only 11 receptions coming into the game. They've thrown it twice, 2 incompletions in the first half. And they will keep it on the ground. Slow to get up. is John Tavius Mowbray. The Byrd offensive line, which is a good one, as we said, with some pretty good height and weight, having trouble moving some of these Blue Jay defenders around and creating the holes. They had a little bit of success in the first half, and kind of waiting to see what they're going to do differently here in the second half. Well, second down, 8.
I venture they're not going to do much, right? And, Jesuit's doing a little stemming there.
And this one is to Hilliard. Haven't seen Quentin Hilliard carry in this game. It's his first one there, his 30th carry of the year, approaching 300 yards.
Great job by Will Allen right there, as well as Will Berry, 2 defensive linemen for the Jays, getting out there, making nice tackles out there on the edge, running to the ball.
When you look at the statistical sheet for Byrd, you see the averages that, and look, this took place against good competition. And their guys have really been able to average and reel off some pretty nice size runs on plays, and that's what Jesuit has been able to stop tonight. They have taken away the long play, and they've made them grind it out and forced them into some uncomfortable positions. Will they throw? This is Asher Murray. He's scrambling all around, all the way back near his own 5-yard line, and he will finally throw it. And he's got a receiver. That's Malachi Johnson. And did he step out of bounds?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did. He stepped out of bounds. So they're going to end up losing big yardage on that play. He might have just done better to throw it way over Malachi's head.
That was a mess when it got started, right? So let's take a look at it again. They fake the toss. He's looking to hit the back out of the backfield, which was the fullback, Desmond Simmons. But Jesuit's right there in his face, doesn't allow him to do anything. You can see the athletic talent there, just not a very strong thrower. Boy, I tell you what, his foot was right on the edge right there, and it was back behind the line of scrimmage, and now they're forced to punt in a 4th in a decade situation.
Yeah, and flag thrown, so this one, the back judge?
Now I got 12 on the field. Jesuit's going to have illegal participation. You can't play with 12. Not in this league.
Illegal substitution.
Well, it was 4th and about 20, maybe 19 or 20, so
yep.
Even with that 5 yards, it's still 4th and a long, long way. 4th and 14, 4th and 15.
Looked like Gio Matranga got caught out there as the 12th guy, and as he came off, he was trying to avoid one of the coaches who was giving him an earful, which, as he should be getting.
Back judge caught it. And Abram Murray with a nice punt's going to get a great roll. That'll roll out of bounds right at the 15-yard line. They'll mark it out at the 16-yard line.
Well, there you go. That's hitting that driver, and it's rolling. It's a 250-yard drive rolling for another 100 yards, right? There you go. He gets a good roll out of that.
The Blue Jays will have the ball, and 5:27 to play in the third quarter. Landon Garcia is the back, takes the snap, finds a big hole on the right side, and will gain 7.
Yeah, Garcia's coming on tonight, too.
He really is.
Berrigan and Garcia, and like I said, offensive coordinators, they found something. They've got everybody working well in the offense, so what are you going to do? You're going to keep calling the same stuff that you're having success with, and it seems like they're having success with everything, that they're doing. They've just dropped a few passes.
Yeah, and 2 that they dropped early on were long bombs that the Jesuit receivers had actually beaten the competition, so that's very special. We got a tip on the throw.
Yeah, we got a tip on the throw. I think that looked like number 41 from Byrd that got his hand up and knocked that down, Jakari Williams.
So that'll bring up 3rd down for the Blue Jays. They need 3 to move the chains.
Still got
their own 27.
Yeah,
28, I'm sorry.
Ken, still got a lot of room out there. They're giving those Jesuit wide receivers at the corner, right? They're playing them on almost 10 yards cushion, right? So it's like stealing. All you got to do is throw the ball out there, and you've picked up 4, 5, 6 yards already.
Well, the leading receiver, Roman Lowry, is out on the right side. Let's see if Bo Perez at quarterback goes to him. High snap. He'll pull it down, hand off to Garcia again. Garcia stopped short of the first down, and the Blue Jays are going to be facing 4th and short yardage and may have to punt it away.
Yeah, that's that Byrd defense that we've seen all year long do a good job up in the Shreveport area, and that was led by Ashton Fullwood, who comes in with 72 tackles on the year. Number 6 at his linebacker position comes up and knocks everything back right there.
So we're still at 4 minutes and 56 seconds. And is the clock stopped? Are they keeping it on the field? But the clock has not.
Seem they have a clock problem. I don't know. We can hear the Jesuit coaching staff in the booth next to us.
Well, now it's running. They got it running again
right.
now.
There you go. And I get it, right? If Jesuit calls timeout, they're trying to find out what's going on with the clock. They want an explanation. The clock hasn't been running, and when that happens, you need to be able to try to get an answer from your officials to see what is going on. Is it a malfunction of the clock, or is it just their negligence, right?
Well.
So we'll see what's going to happen. But anyway, you look at it, Jesuit calls timeout, and that's an interesting situation there. There was about maybe 15 seconds that might have not run off.
Well, we'll get back to that in just a moment. We wanted to pay a tribute to a former Jesuit great who recently passed away. We'll do that in just a little while because the Blue Jays are ready to play and they are ready to punt this ball away. And the ball goes, wow, look out. And a wise play just to kick that out of the end zone for the safety. Wow.
Well, that's going to be 2 points for Byrd, obviously. Safety ball going out the back of the end zone, but it starts with the bad snap.
They've had some snap problems in this game. Even Bo Perez has had a number of high snaps for him at quarterback, and he's a pretty big guy back there at 6'5". So this one with the bad snap puts 2 on the board for Byrd. And the Blue Jays are going to have to free kick this. They can kick it or punt it from their own 20-yard line. So Byrd's got a golden opportunity way to get back in this game if they can take advantage of it.
Well, they've picked up 2 points, so that's a little something on the board, and they're going to get good field position.
Wow. Tim Parrington, one of the all-time greats for Jesuit, passed away recently, and we just pay tribute to him. He was, I remember, the quarterback of that Jesuit team that played St. Aug in the Dome for state championship that eventually led to the All-State Prep Classic being played in the Dome every year.
1978.
And close friend for many. And to the Parrington family, our condolences and prayers for Tim and his entire family. But what a great one he was. And, when we think of him, we'll always think of the great seasons and the great efforts he had for the Jesuit Blue Jays.
Yeah, he was a teammate of mine. I had the opportunity to play with Timmy. And he was a good friend, good football player, great athlete. But on top of that, he embodied a Jesuit model man that graduates from Jesuit. He's a man for others. He was a kind, caring individual. And my condolences go out to the whole Parrington family.
So Malachi Johnson with a good return. And Byrd will have some pretty good field position after the free kick and the safety on the bad snap on a punt.
Well, they got something going. It was given to them, but you take whatever you can get. You need to do something now to try to get things going, right? And
hey, sometimes
they can't throw the football, so maybe you got to start getting the ball out on the edge a little bit and trying to use some of your speed.
And look, you're starting at your own 47-yard line, so this is excellent field position to start. Let's see if they can take advantage of it. Quarterback is the junior starter, Harrison Ayers. He and Asher Murray each getting a lot of reps in this game. Harrison with a little bit more experience, 1 year older.
Well,
Harrison started as a tight end.
Right. This is the, I believe, 4th illegal procedure penalty tonight on the Yellow Jackets, right? You just can't survive. Well, no, you can't survive behind the sticks if you're this type of offense, as I already said.
You got a guy who, again, played tight end, fullback, and there's a nice pitch. Malachi Johnson, nowhere to go.
Hey, great play by Gio Matranga. He comes back and makes a nice play right there. That makes up for him being on the field as the 12th guy back on that punt return, right? So at least he can come off the field now and he can say, hey, I made up for my mistake, right? That's the way to hustle back Gio Matranga. You love to see that out of kids, right? You make a mistake, come back and make a play on the field.
Yeah, and you can see where that 5-yard penalty hurt you, because now it'd be 2nd down and 10 or maybe 2nd and 9 with the 1-yard gain. But now you're looking at 2nd and 14, 2nd and almost 15. High tip, and he's knocked out of the way. Loose ball picked up by the Blue Jays. Blue Jay ball. That ball was intended, wow, for Quentin Hilliard, but it was a real bad toss from Ayers. And the Blue Jays, with a turnover, make up for the safety and the bad snap and everything else, and they can make up for it right here big if they can push it forward for a score.
Yeah, jet toss, it was just bad. Bad toss out there in the jet toss, and you had Blue Jays all over the place, and it gets picked up. And I didn't get the number of who picked that up for the Blue Jays, but the Jays have a chance to put a nail in a coffin right here.
Well, great field position. You've got it at the 27-yard line of Byrd. Hand off to Berrigan. Around the right side, cuts back in, breaking tackles. He is inside the 20. And just another fabulous run. Ran probably about 15 yards to pick up 9.
Yeah, Berrigan does a nice job getting out there, and he's a little picking right, he's picking left, jump cutting right, jump cutting left, making
man,
people
you love
miss.
It's love to see those kind of runs, no matter whose side of the ball they come on. You just love to see that type of running back doing his thing.
Well, it's also nice to see 2 seniors, Garcia and Berrigan, having the night that they're having, right? You know, it's no clue that Jesuit has struggled this year in their running game, and it's nice to see their running game come around.
Berrigan again slips through a big hole and is brought down from behind at the 10-yard line. That'll move the chains for a first down. And if they mark it right at the 10, it'll be 1st and goal. Let's see if they mark it just outside the 10 or not. Right on the 10.
You know, Berrigan and Garcia having a great night, but the MVP for Jesuit's that offensive line. They are just physically handling the Byrd front.
Yep. Frank Fennicle up high on your screen to the right. But the Blue Jays are going to keep it on the ground. Berrigan again, and he just takes players with him right down inside the 10, close to the 5. They'll mark it a little bit above the 5-yard line.
You know, Jesuit comes in offensively into this game only averaging 13.6 points a game, right? And, you know, tonight they've met that. But they've struggled all year long moving the ball offensively, and it's especially from the running standpoint. And, you know, Ryan Manali likes to run the football a lot. He did it at all of his previous stops. He comes from a running history of offense at Rummel, and it's good to see him get that running game go tonight in the first round of the playoffs.
Berrigan again, and this time they gang tackle him as he crosses the 10, forward progress to the 8-yard line. And again, Jesuit in no hurry. While they're doing this, they're running clock. We're down nearing the minute mark of the third quarter.
I mean, they know they're in control. They don't need to try to work any fast tempo, so they're just taking their time, just handling, making sure that they get their signals in and everything takes place properly.
Perez to throw, and he's got it, but out of bounds.
Well, he looked right, pumped right, was covered, and he comes back maybe to his second receiver to the left.
Roman Lare,
and the ball was just not on target, right? And except for a couple of deep balls tonight, he's also been kind of off on his placement of the ball. Brings out the field goal team for another shot.
Yeah, it tells you the kind of luck Jesuit's having tonight is that when Bo Perez was on target, the ball slipped right through the receiver's fingers, and then when the receivers were able to get it, it was just a little off target like that one was, and Lowry couldn't stay in bounds with it. Had to go out of bounds to get it. And this one missed badly.
Yeah, that was wide.
That looked like from about the 15-yard line and just missed real badly. So it's still 16-2, and Byrd with 38 seconds to play in the third quarter. If they can get something moving on this drive, still very much in this ball game. But the Jesuit defense has done a superb job of shutting down an offense that's been extremely hard to shut down this year. And I say that even with both teams finishing with 4-6 records, it's been an offense that, again, Byrd has still been able to make the big plays, move an offense, do things, and it's been something special. But tonight, you've got to really take your hats off to Jesuit and the way they've handled this.
Their style of offense is hard to get ready for in 1 week because it's hard to emulate.
Yes. And let's see if they hand off here to Malachi Johnson. Johnson for a few. They're looking for those holes inside that when they get that extra block and they break them, that's when the Yellow Jacket backs have been able to really make something happen, but Jesuit has had every hole plugged up pretty well, and when they see the back heading one way, they've used some pretty good speed and quickness to get there.
Well, they're outnumbering at the point of attack. They're playing assignment football, and they're where they're supposed to be by assignment, and they're doing a good job, and they've done a great job playing with a one-high safety, getting themselves down to give them the extra player from the safety position to be able to outnumber at the point of attack.
That's the end of the third quarter, and again, we want to thank Gibbs Construction for sponsoring the third quarter. They're a leader in the construction industry in Louisiana and the Gulf Coast for more than 45 years, transforming dreams, visions, and plans into reality. Gibbs Constructions, thank you for sponsoring the third quarter. Our fourth quarter is going to be brought to you by Lamarck Ford. Tonight's coverage on Crescent City Sports. It's also brought to you by Lamarck Motor Company in Kenner. Lamarck's Quick Lane Services services all makes and all models, batteries, tires, oil changes, and more. It's done very quickly while you enjoy some popcorn. And as Ronnie says, there must be a reason. And you can always go inside and talk to Timmy and Dennis and Ronnie when he's there. We'll walk around the dealership and tell people hello, sing you a song if you ask him.
And
sometimes he'll sing. Sometimes he'll sing you one, even if you don't ask him.
Yeah, he can definitely sing. I hope he comes out with another Christmas album this year. Last year's was excellent.
So 1 quarter to play. Can the Jesuit defense just continue to put the stop on everything Byrd has been trying to do with their triple option, veer, call it what you want? You see a lot of different things. We've seen a lot of different things here, but nothing that has been able to get them over that goal line. From their 22-yard line, here they go. Malachi Johnson finds a little bit of a hole, breaks a tackle. There's the magical Malachi breaking more tackles, but wait a minute. This one might be coming back. A flag is down at the 24-yard line.
Well, that's the first counter I've seen tonight, and that's counter, what they call Sally, right? Coming back, slot back, reverse, if you want to call it that. It's going to come back with a hold. Let's see what our call is from our Baton Rouge Association. Yep, it's a hold, so it's going to come back to the previous line of scrimmage and get walked off from there. Look at the counter by the halfback. Nice. Everything in blue is going that way, as it should be. They've been overflowing all night long. They run the counter backside. He pops it, but it's to naught because the holding penalty is going to bring it back, and it's going to put him behind the sticks.
And that would wipe out close to a 35-yard gain by Malachi Johnson. We've been waiting to see him break one or do something like that, and when he does, it comes back by way of penalty. That's a big wipeout.
Here's the thing I've been waiting to see. I've been waiting to see counter all night, right? That's the first counter I've seen all night.
Good point.
It has not been there. Those are things that you've got to be able to slow the defense down from over-pursuing, especially the extra guy coming down in the box, which is the safety. You know, you've got to be able to come back with a couple of different things off of your option game and your lead sweep and buck sweep game in order to be able to slow down the defense, and Byrd has not done that, especially if you can't throw the football.
Yeah, that backs it up to the 14-yard line, make it second down now, and 16. Wow, that's a big wipeout on a long run right there. And
well, they've been penalized heavy tonight, and you know they've had a number of holding penalties. They've had a number of illegal procedures. They've had a couple of unsportsmanlike, procedures, and those are things that I'm sure that their coach Stacy Ballou is extremely upset about.
Yeah,
he seems to be having a word over there with the line judge over on his sideline.
From the 14, they'll come this way with it, our way, around the near side, gaining a little bit of the yardage back. So we get to see Jontavius Mowbray run. He's carried just a few times in this game.
Yeah, Wyatt Myers there should have made the tackle in the backfield. He was waiting there for the pitch, and he misses the tackle. He got up and kind of shook his head like, hey, I should have had that, right? So kind of gets him back to a 3rd and long here.
Harrison Ayers is at quarterback. He will toss it to Johnson. Malachi Johnson turning on the speed, turning the corner, and he's got the first down. And that might be finally the kind of play that Byrd needed just to spark this team.
Toss was in the right place. Last time they ran a play, he gave it to him high, and it was fumbled and recovered by Jesuit, right? So the toss was in the right place, and he gets outside. He's got a few jets. Watch him turn them on right here. Nice block out there on the edge.
Yeah, gain of 10. We haven't seen Desmond Simmons at fullback break one yet. Simmons on the dive, but didn't get the handoff. That time it was a keeper by Ayers.
Yeah, Ayers gets pulled down by Zyron Forstall. First time we've called his name tonight. He's the freshman phenom I think Jesuit is counting on as a part of the future of their football program. He's a big freshman at 6'3", 205 pounds, comes in with 16 tackles and 4 hurries.
He's made some big plays. Maybe you don't want to say more big plays on defense than anybody else, but he's made his share all year as a freshman.
Oh, he's a freshman. He's still making freshman mistakes. He's learning.
Hand off to Hilliard that time on the counter, and boom, nothing. Jesuit was waiting for it right in the middle. Byrd's going to continue to test that middle, and so far they haven't had a lot of success. Their success has been on the outside, Wade.
Well, that's their offense right there. That's the counter.
Their offense is the middle, without question.
Right, that's the counter right there. Again, that's called Sally. It's off of either the belly or the veer offense, and they're going to give it to the slot back coming back around in a reverse-looking scheme, and you got to stay home for that. Backside has got to stay home. You can't run off, and that time Jesuit did a great job staying home.
Simmons, good fake. Oh, the ball bounced right out of Ayers' hand, rather. It's loose, and who's got it? Blue Jays got it.
Zyron Forstall comes up with that, and it was Tucker Schreibler making the hit, the National Merit semifinalist on the quarterback right there. Great hit by Schreibler. Ball's out on the ground.
Yeah, Merit's, by the way, I want to hit that one again. Merit Scholarship finalist, one of 20 from Jesuit High School, but the only merit finalist on the football team.
Yeah, well, I couldn't spell it, right? But this guy is.
That deserves to be talked about.
Right. Well, that I couldn't spell it.
By the way, that's his third tackle for loss, and he's the team leader in tackles with 53. So he's been around some.
Yeah, he's a good football player. Plus, on top of that, he's a very good student. He epitomized what a student athlete is at Jesuit.
From the 12-yard line, Jesuit with the football, and they're inside the 10 now, and with a little bit more, it's just hard, real hard, to stop these Blue Jays, and wow. Landon Garcia. Well, Patrick Berrigan back in the backfield waiting for Ryan Manali, Coach Ryan Manali, to send Bo Perez, his quarterback, back into the huddle. Perez with Patrick Berrigan to his left. Will take the handoff. Berrigan wanted to go right up the middle, and this time the Yellow Jackets clog it up and stop him for a... Actually, he'll lose a yard on the play.
Yeah, John Rushing. Yeah, John Rushing there that time was there to make that play.
Third down.
You can see him come from the backside. Right there, the linebacker comes through, makes a nice play on Berrigan and hits him in the backfield. One of the few plays in the backfield tonight by the Byrd defense.
We're in the fourth quarter. Went under the 8-minute mark, 7:45. Low snap. He's going to throw into the end zone. Bobbles caught. Touchdown.
I tell you what, that got bobbled, right?
It got bobbled, but this time it got caught.
It was almost he was trying to drop the football.
And that is Roman Lare with the score, with the catch and score.
Lare comes up with it off of the bobble. They blew both linebackers, right? So that left every bit of the coverage underneath wide open. So that was like a turkey shoot there for Perez to put that on the number to Lowry, and he bobbles it, but he comes up with the touchdown off of the slant route.
Ethan Cabos with the point after. It's good.
I tell you what. Wide receivers tonight struggling for the Jays about trying to catch the ball, right? So
23-2. The Jesuit Blue Jays have the lead, and they have 7:34, just a little over 7.5 minutes to play in this game. And as we said, if this score holds, if Byrd can't make a comeback in these final 7:34, it'll be a rematch of a game played 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
between Holy Cross and Jesuit, the oldest continuous rivalry, fifth oldest continuous rivalry played in the United States. And, when the two teams play during the season, you got all the tailgating and all the hoopla and the pageantry that goes along with the rivalry. This time it'll just be a hard-hitting, hey, this is the end of the season for whichever team doesn't get by this. And that, of course, is only if Jesuit holds on to win the game.
Yeah,
but they're up 23-2 with 7:34 to go. Let's see if Byrd can say, wait a minute, we've got something to say about this. Wade?
Well, the teams, that comes out of here tonight is going to play Holy Cross, who gets the bye. They were the first seed in the Division I select division. So if it's Jesuit and Holy Cross again, I guess it's another event, right?
Matthew Boras. Yeah, and Boras, well, the whistle had blown when he dropped the ball and a Jesuit player pounced on it, but he was down. Then Byrd will have the football. 1st and 10 with 7:25 to play.
But if Byrd fights their way back into it, Ken, they're going to be on a bus trip back down to New Orleans again to, like I said, to play Holy Cross. So, Holy Cross is sitting there. They've got the day off, the weekend off. They had the week off to heal up, and it very well earned by a very good Holy Cross football team.
So you've got Asher Murray, the sophomore quarterback, coming in to see if he can get something started here at the 7:25 mark. You've seen both quarterbacks play, and there's a throw and the drop almost caught by Matthew Boris, who also does most of the returns on kicks and punts. Had a hand on it. But the third pass of the game makes it 0 for 3 passing by the Yellow Jackets.
That's
3 passes in this game is a lot for Byrd. We're not saying that to be funny, folks. They just don't throw it a lot.
Well, that's just not what they do. They move the ball in other ways, and they just haven't been able to do it tonight. And like I said, I think the guys in blue have a lot to do with that.
Wait a minute. You know what? Officially, they're 1 for 6. 1 for 6. I forgot about the drive and the completion on that play where they were scrambling around and ended up with the 12-yard loss on a completed pass. So that's the official part of it right there. And why they're just having trouble running that football right now and looking at 3rd down and 9. So this is a play where it's got to happen because you've gone under the 7-minute mark in this game and you're trailing by 21. Murray, the quarterback, the sophomore, he's back to throw. Spirals up beauty, and Malachi Johnson was looking over his right shoulder, and the ball went over his left. He was there, he was open, and he couldn't pull it down. Did he lose it in the lights? You talked about the lights being sometimes a problem in this stadium.
No, the ball was thrown behind him.
Yeah,
it's just a bad throw.
Yeah, he was looking forward to his right side. It came to his left side and a little behind him.
It's off waggle action, play action. Nicely done. He's behind the defender. That's what they need to do. I would have loved to have seen that done in the first half somewhere along the line. You don't have to always complete the pass.
Right.
What you have to do is you got to give them the threat that you can do it, right? And the ball was just not thrown well.
Well, Asher Murray's older brother, Abram Murray, to punt. He relies on that roll and gets another good one. It'll roll dead at the 35-yard line.
Yeah, smart play by the returner. Just get out of the way.
Get out of the way.
Right. Because that's one that you can't handle. It's off to the side of the foot of the punter, and it's going to be wobbly, and that's just something that you do not want to take a chance of. It wasn't going to hit and roll. Remember, it's not on turf. It's not going to roll as far because it is on grass. So, smart decision by the returner there, which I like to see.
And again, with this time on the clock at 6:23 and Byrd having the ball with usually a little over 7. They're uncomfortable throwing the ball that much, but they almost have to try to get back in this one. First down, handoff. But the Jays are going to keep it on the ground, and they do on first down. And that is Garcia, Landon Garcia, with the first run. And he gets a bunch, close to a first down, just short, a 9-yard gain, 2nd and 1 for the Blue Jays at the 49.
Yeah, one of the Jesuit offensive linemen is out of the game. Christopher Byrd looks like he's sitting down on the trainer's table, and they're looking at his ankle. Jesuit comes in a little banged up, believe it or not. That's one of the reasons why they can only have one safety playing tonight. They've lost the other ones.
Well, this play is blown dead as it gets started. Probably have a delay of game here, I believe.
Nope, they had an illegal procedure.
Illegal procedure.
Correct. But it's the 11th week of the season. All these teams in the playoffs are banged up. And, the ones that aren't banged up are the ones that, are going to make that deep push deep into the playoffs, right? And all the ones that do have the guys that are hurt and that are banged up, they're trying to do everything that they possibly can to get their guys back playing. That's where the bye comes in. And a team like Holy Cross, who got that bye, and John Curtis, who got that bye out of the Catholic League, and Carr, those guys are healing up this week, and they're going to be ready to roll next week.
Garcia across the 40, near the 45, just short of the first down. So it'll be 3rd down and 1. Now Garcia's in the game. Patrick Berrigan taking a well-deserved rest.
3rd and 2.
Well, that time Byrd jumped and maybe giving the Blue Jays a free first down, a complimentary new set of downs here.
There is an offensive coordinator I don't know that loves the word free. It's like going to a pizza buffet, right? If you can get the defense to jump off sides, it's like, hey, we'll take it. It just and then it's going to change your whole call on 1st and 10.
At the 48-yard line of the Blue Jays, it is 1st and 10. Landon Garcia, the running back. Well, Perez is just...
They're going to run the 40-second clock all the way down.
There it is. The snap comes with 3 seconds on it. And the handoff, and Garcia smothered in the backfield at the 45. And that'll be a loss. And that's what Jesuit wants to do right now, is just take 4 downs, run the clock as much as possible. You're under the 4-minute mark now, 3:55, 3:54. Patrick Berrigan on the sidelines. What a night he's had. If he comes back in, we don't know, but he's carried 23 times for 184 yards. How's that for a workhorse tonight?
Well, he's going to have to ice down tomorrow, right? I mean, but it's good.
Look, they were tough yards.
He hasn't had to do that all season, right? And that's what I said. And that's what's good to see out of these 2 seniors tonight, are able to run the football, and it kind of really gives them a highlight film moving, as they are coming to the last few games of their career, right? And that is great. It's great to see those sort of things, and it's good to see that for Berrigan and Garcia.
And that was Taylor Norton in at quarterback now. He's had limited action coming in here. 1-for-1 passing for 16 yards.
Yeah, could this be the quarterback of the future for the Jays, right? Get him some reps, get him some snaps in a playoff situation.
And look, nothing fancy right now. All he's got to do is hand it off. The Jays aren't going to put it in the air. He's going to hand it off to Landon Garcia. They're going to run that snap clock, that play clock down inside of 5 seconds before they snap the ball.
And I think Byrd has thrown up the white flag too. They're not using their timeouts to stop the clock, and they're just letting this thing roll. This thing's kind of been put to sleep already. So,
yeah, down to 2 minutes and 10 seconds, and Jesuit will punt it away on 4th down and 12 with a 23-2 lead, a 21-point lead. And this one, they got a hand on that one.
Yeah,
I think somebody got a hand on that one, and it just wobbles down to the 30-yard line. And, hey, somehow things are going right for the Blue Jays, and it goes forward, and they're going to have the ball down at the 30-yard line. So we know now that Jesuit's going to hold on, win this one, so we're looking ahead to next week. And that means the rivalry, Jesuit and Holy Cross, is going to continue, which started in 1922. Jesuit leads the series 61-41-1, but they've only met twice in the postseason, 51 and 63. 63, Holy Cross beat them twice the second time before some 40,000 fans at old Tulane Stadium. Game moved to a Tuesday night because of weather. And Holy Cross won that game and won the state championship there, but you see it. And this year, the Tigers broke a Jesuit 5-game win streak in the series to win 30-0 in the regular season game. And what I'm seeing here, Wade Kaiser, is a different Jesuit team than we saw when we did the Holy Cross Jesuit game.
Well, they've gotten themselves well after Holy Cross, right? They beat a very good Rummel football team, and now tonight they come in and get their first win in the first round of the playoffs.
That's Desmond Simmons to the 45.
And they get themselves well real quick. So now that brings a little momentum into next week's second-round playoff game.
Yeah. And the running game and Patrick Berrigan proved, hey, I'm a guy you've got to stop. Again, 25 carries, folks, 184 yards. And the official stats on Byrd passing was 1 for 6. 1 for 6.
Jesuit now getting a lot of fresh jerseys out there, which is good to see, to be able to, get those guys a little playoff action, right? So it's good to see that.
So we're down to 40 seconds.
Again, a great defensive effort tonight by Jesuit. Great game plan coming in. They really shut down this option wing T offense and option offense of Byrd.
Yeah, they did. And look, it's a hard, again, Desmond Simmons. And we thought it was Desmond Simmons. What a good fake that time on the handoff. And here in these final 20 seconds, a nice run by Harrison Ayers. He kept it that time.
Jesuit's got a lot of JV guys in there right now. That thing got popped real well. And, those are the things that they've done well all year right there. With pop the option, quarterback running the football, fullback running the football. Just tonight they could not get it going.
They're not going to snap again. Clock's going to run down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This one is over. The Jesuit Blue Jays win it by the score of 23-2 over Byrd, whose season ends at 4-7. The Jesuit Blue Jays are now 5-6 and will advance to the next round of the playoffs, where they will meet Holy Cross. So it's a rematch, as we just talked about, of Jesuit and Holy Cross next Friday night. And probably at Tad Gormley, not sure yet. They haven't announced a place for it, but I'm guessing there, and we'll see where that one takes place. And Wade Kaiser, your thoughts on this one? Because like you said, look, when you look at what Byrd can do with that triple option, it's hard to think of a team really shutting them down like the Jesuit defense shut down the Byrd option offense tonight.
Yeah, well, great job by the Jesuit defensive staff having a game plan coming in. They were kind of banged up on defense, had a few guys out who were only able to play a one-high secondary, where they know they usually like to play a two-high secondary against an option team, but they just couldn't do it, so they came in with a little bit different game plan. They executed it well, shut down a high-powered offense of Byrd, and they get the chance now to move on to next week to see Holy Cross in a rematch of the rivalry game in the second round of Division I select football teams here in the state of Louisiana.
Yeah, so there you have it. You'll have 16th seeded Jesuit playing first seed, the number 1 seed who had the bye this week, Holy Cross, next week. So that's going to wrap it up from here. I want to thank all of our sponsors again, Lamarck Ford, Rhino Shield, and Gibbs Construction, for helping bring these games to you on CrescentCitySports.com. And want to thank our crew, Matt Beal and Matt Merritt, doing Matt Beal on camera, Matt Merritt doing the producing. Heck of a broadcast tonight, and just a heck of an effort by the Jesuit Blue Jays. So that's going to wrap it up from here, folks. Want to thank you for joining us. Next Friday again, Crescent City Sports will have more playoff football for you. Visit the website at CrescentCitySports.com for the latest info. And remember, scores throughout the night at CrescentCitySports.com. They'll have everything for you on the high school scoreboard at CCS, CrescentCitySports.com. For Wade Kaiser and our entire Crescent City Sports production team, I'm Ken Berthelot saying so long from the Shrine on Airline. Once again, our final score, Jesuit 23, Byrd 2. Good night, everybody.